Yeah, I believe so. All right. All right. Okay. So right now it's just a black screen right now. All right. Intro playing in 3, 2, 1.
We on the nicest spot this lap.
3 wide and deep.
This is like a damn plate race. Yeehaw, baby. 3 with no help. Push him up. Race all the way back, baby. We got this. Real man. Awesome job, dude. Awesome job. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Oh, my God. We are the champions. Yes. Lincoln, sorry, boys. Yes.
Oh my gosh. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Darren Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter. And of course, I blow the intro. Of course.
Wait, did they catch me saying PewDiePie?
No. They only heard
They
me.
did now.
They heard me
They did
saying,
now.
all right, playing intro in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's always the thing I do, trying to stay organized with the intro and stuff. But oh my goodness, of course, every time I host, something always has to happen. But nope, let's move on here. We are joined by some of our usual panel, the one and only Iceberg, as well as Eric Estep. Danny B Talks is on vacation. I think where's he staying, in a cabin or something like that? I think he's staying in a cabin somewhere.
In a van down by the river.
He sent me a clip of him in like a field or something. I don't know where he's at. He's off the grid.
Oh, yeah, he's way off the grid. But, hey, he's living his best life. I hope he's having a good time. But we'll take it from here. So, as you guys seen in the title, we did get a pre-recorded interview with John Hunter Nemechek. We will be playing that during the second half of the show. But let's start off the first half with... Oh, Texas, man.
Texas.
I have a lot of opinions on the Texas race as a whole and stuff, but Eric, start us off. You'll probably be the most positive since this is your home track. What did you think of the race?
I mean, I'd like to think I'm fairly unbiased.
You are. Yeah,
but I do have a sentimental soft spot for Texas Motor Speedway. It's where I saw my first race. It's where I've seen by far the most races in my NASCAR fan career. But I think, I hope I'm not the only one who says this, but I actually think this was a pretty good race. Like, the issues with the package, I can't say aside, because that was honestly the biggest blemish of this race, in my opinion, is that you just knew watching that the drivers were put in a box. Like, I think, who was it? Somebody tweeted, it might've been David Land, or somebody tweeted today, like a response to a clip Brad Keselowski posted where you could see Tyler Reddick go into the corner behind Keselowski and immediately wash up the track because of, dirty air. And I thought, yeah, that is frustrating. So aside from the typical 550 horsepower / Texas Motor Speedway, narrow groove, all, full throttle racing, aside from those problems, this race had no shortage of storylines. I mean, Kyle Larson on the surface led a ton of laps and dominated, but behind him, the playoff drivers were putting themselves in dire situations left and right. That's the one thing I loved. We saw a ton of drivers run into issues, especially in stage 3, but for the most part, at least, in fact, maybe entirely, it wasn't just, fluky bad luck, like Larson at Talladega a few weeks ago when he was just mind his own business and a guy wrecked right into him. Like, it was, for the most part, playoff drivers making aggressive mistakes. And see, when drivers are making aggressive mistakes because they're racing for something important, I don't mind seeing a lot of cautions and the race get dragged out a little bit. So I thought it was a pretty good race. You had Truex's hard crash. He made contact with Suarez. Logano blowing a motor puts him in a must-win scenario these next 2 weeks. But, Kyle Larson winning at the end of the day, he locks himself in. It's fitting end to the race. Larson being the first driver locked into the championship 4 makes a lot of sense. So I thought overall it was engaging, even though the racing itself still had its typical 550 horsepower problems.
But man, let me say this too. Dale Jr., again, this generation's Benny Parsons in the broadcast booth, because dude, like, I'm just
we got Carnival!
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, it's a 15 car pile up on the backstretch at Texas. And I'm just like, man, Jr., he's really doing an amazing job in the booth. I'll give him that.
I had a damn tweet go viral about that. Like, it had 2,000 likes and 200 or 300 reaches. I was like, holy Jesus. People connect with that shit.
Exactly. What'd you think?
I mean, I gave it a 4 out of 10. I thought it was kind of average, a little below average. I couldn't put it any lower than 4 because I gave Charlotte, I think 2 out of 10. It wasn't the worst race of the season by any means. It was a good Texas race. My thing is just that, and I put this in my video this week too, is that I don't want the playoffs to make the race interesting. I want the race to make the playoffs interesting, kind of thing. And I felt like if this wasn't a playoff race, there really wouldn't be as much interest in what was going on, in my opinion. I don't, like I said, I don't think it was the worst race of the year. I think, you did see a lot of time that, during the restarts, there was a lot more passing, a lot more side-by-side racing. But I looked up some of the numbers, and I forgot who it was in the chat, but attaboy to whoever you are, you'll know who you are. Looked up some of the numbers, and it's had like the least lead changes of any Texas race since the reconfiguration, least amount of passes, like stuff like that. Like, I seriously, I got to find where this comment was, because it was like listed all of it down. But like I said, I don't think it was. I thought it was better than last year's Texas races, for the most part.
I'll give it that.
I did think it was better, but I was not really crazy about it at all.
Look, I like this Texas race, and like I gave it the rare W on Twitter, and the reason being was solely on the chaos. There was a lot of stuff going on. First, you had Dale Jr. in the very beginning of the race. Oh, we got cars around 15 car pileup, doing his thing in the booth. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the race, you had some playoff implications with Logano blowing an engine, Truex blew a tire and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, like, and this is kind of a rant too. Anthony Alfredo, this was like one of the worst timed radio sound bites ever, because he gets taken out by the 14 of Chase Briscoe, and also Denny Hamlin had problems with him earlier, and I'll get to him in a little bit too. But Anthony Alfredo gets taken out, hits the wall, and he said something along the lines of "damn 14," and then as soon as he stopped saying that, the fire erupts, it starts and stuff, and then I'm kind of looking around, I'm like, well, where's the safety crew at? I felt like, look, it was a bit slow in my opinion. I mean, like, go ahead.
I just want to put this out there because I don't know how many people saw it, but isn't it kind of funny that it was a Rush's truck that ended up towing him away?
Yes.
He crashed. He crashed, I think, right under the sign where his sponsor was. I just want to say that right now. Trust, there was not like I said, when I say like 4 or 5, I say that in the sense that it wasn't like there was nothing going on that like didn't keep my interest, right? Like there was plenty of stuff, and especially like the first half of the race. After that crash, that first half of the race, through probably halfway through the third stage, nothing, like really didn't do anything for me. As for the end of it, the end was much more enjoyable. If I had to go like piece by piece, I'm like that first little bit, like it did seem more interesting at the start before the wreck. I'll say that. And I think, having a 15 car wreck is probably going to make stuff die down a little bit, especially with this package. So like before the wreck is like, okay, all right. Middle part of the race, pretty bad. End of the race, like 6 or 7 out of 10 when it comes to like enjoyment, keeping my interest, stuff like that. But just averaging it all together, that's I think why I put it there. There was plenty of interesting stuff. I mean, I look at like what we have on the famous itinerary, and we have a good amount. Like there is a good amount of stuff to talk about from this race, which surprised me having it be a Texas race, but do credit there. There's plenty.
Yeah, there's a lot. And then also the funniest part of this race too, without a doubt, I didn't hear it, but people on Twitter were going off about it. KFB giving out Mr. O'Donnell's email during the race, saying, "Hey, if you guys like this type of racing, just hit this email up and just give him the email live on the radio." I mean, I haven't heard of any sort of fine yet, but surely a fine would be coming, right? Or no?
Maybe I have no idea. What's the what is the protocol there? Like,
I guess
he didn't dox him really, but
yeah.
I don't know how limited in scope the definition of doxing is. But
I'll tell you what, like, they shouldn't fine him. And I'm not saying because he did something wrong.
Because he got the email wrong.
No, but I'm saying he got it right and they fine him. That confirms he got it right.
Yes.
The problem is, does anyone have a soundbite? Because I was listening to the radio and I zoned out. I didn't hear what play, but I had his channel pulled up, but I didn't hear it. So I have no idea if it was accurate. Not that I know Steve O'Donnell's email. So
I saw from a few people, I got sent to like 3 of them because I was DMing a few people about it. And like it cut, like it went static right as he went like Steve at NASCAR.com.
They were listening and they were like, nope.
His email honestly probably is Steve at, well, no, that's Steve Phelps. Like it's probably Steve O. It's Steve O at NASCAR.com.
Steve O at NASCAR.com.
That's probably it. If you want a shot in the dark, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. That would surprise me. But no, hey, look, shout out to Kyle Larson. He was clearly the most dominant car throughout the day. I mean, was clearly the fan favorite in the Vegas Insider betting odds, as well as, I mean, he won the All-Star race here. Of course, that was a completely different race format, package, etc., all that stuff. But no, man, he completely dominated this race from start to finish. I mean, you had moments where, you know, William Byron was looking like a threat, and Tyler Reddick too. He's these two young guns in Tyler Reddick and William Byron. Man, like once they get their stuff together, they're going to be championship threats in the future.
If Reddick can stop running into Byron for 1
yeah,
week,
he's doing that though. That's the thing. You gotta relax with that.
So I just want to address the chat really quick. Speedway Anywhere. Danny isn't the Vikings fan. I am. And yes, it was a Mickey win. For those listening on Spotify, in the YouTube chat right now, it says, "Darn it, no Danny." I wanted to give him crap about another Vikings.
He's
Mickey
a Titans fan, so you can't really give him crap this week. They're in a good spot. But hey, go Rams, by the way.
But
hey,
no, but I'll say something about that Byron Reddick stuff. Is like, can we just see Reddick or not Reddick? Byron just explode already? Like,
dude, he won't do it. He won't do it.
I'm telling you, no, he will. Everybody has that breaking point. Matt Kenseth proved that point to me.
Yeah, true.
Everybody has a breaking point.
But how many times is it gonna take though? That's the thing. It's been 2 weeks in a row now.
Well, you know what? He has security. If he gets into a fight, he has 5 years to get Mr. Hendricks, happiness back on his side.
Yeah, he's got more.
So
than
go
enough
after
time.
him.
Yeah,
and I like Reddick. I like Reddick.
Oh yeah,
but go after each other, man. I want to see that. Like, okay, last time. Not last time. In 2019, when my dad and I went to Kansas, which we're doing this weekend, we got to see a fight on pit road. And it was Tyler Reddick and Cole Custer. Mm-hmm. Can we have Tyler Reddick and William Byron this week, please?
That'd be cool.
Just unlikeliest of fights.
Oh, it'd be awesome, man. I would love it. And not because I want either of them getting beat up. I just think it'd be fun as hell to watch.
It's entertaining. And then speaking of other controversies on the track this past weekend, Denny Hamlin versus Chase Briscoe there. I mean, I just alluded to, Chase Briscoe did kind of take out Anthony Alfredo there, and then Alfredo was pissed off about it. But Denny Hamlin, man, he had some harsh words on the race. He's basically like, who the F are you to be racing me this hard? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, the whole deal was, it stems from that Indianapolis road course deal, where Briscoe, just blatantly dumped Hamlin from winning his first race of the season, So Hamlin's already probably a little down on Briscoe. Briscoe had a good race. He ran inside the top 10 most of the afternoon until he made that, what I think was mostly his mistake, racing Hamlin so aggressively, tried to roll the outside and just ran out of racetrack. I think Hamlin, squeezed him a little bit, sure, but at that stage in the race, I think, as Hamlin later said on Instagram, you got to be smarter. You got to understand that's a risk not worth taking. Briscoe took that risk, hit the wall. He still ended up finishing, I think, 15th in the race, despite hitting the wall there and then sort of spinning out or stacking up the field when Alfredo and I think it was Cole Custer actually involved in that crash. So, Hamlin's got a point. I think Briscoe has been wrong twice this year on the track. I like Briscoe a lot. I understand he's not, Briscoe tried to turn it on Instagram, at least in these comments that people were reading. He tried to turn it into an argument of, oh, well, I'm not just going to lay over for the playoff drivers. And like, nobody said that.
I get that. I totally
exactly. I agree with him. But the point is, that's not ever what Denny Hamlin was saying, at least to my knowledge. Hamlin was saying, there's a time and a place to be aggressive. And Briscoe has twice this year with Hamlin in proximity chosen the wrong time to be aggressive or the wrong way to be aggressive. And it's pissed Hamlin off. So yeah, I think, Briscoe is right, but he was arguing something that Hamlin was not arguing. So I don't know what's going to come of that. I feel like two fairly soft-spoken, non-confrontational guys. The fact that a fight didn't break out after, Hamlin got wrecked at the Indy road course makes me think they're never going to fight each other no matter what they do to each other on the track. But, Instagram comments are probably the closest, confrontation we're going to get between those two.
Yeah. Really quick. What's funny about this too is that Jeff Burton was going off in the booth like, well, let me tell you who he is. He's a guy who's trying to make his name in the sport. I'm like, oh my God, Jeff.
Actually.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. I'm like, Jeff, please stop. I'm like, come on.
So I'm a little torn on it. Don't get me wrong. I think Briscoe more often than not in this race was in the wrong. But at the same time, I think that while it wasn't in this instance, there is a bit of a I feel like in the fan base, especially there's and the drivers in the playoffs, there's a bit of an entitlement that playoff drivers need to be raced differently. And while it wasn't the case here, I think that is something valid to bring up. I remember you can think back any year when a non-playoff guy races a playoff guy hard and they're like, you shouldn't be doing that. And it's like, why?
It's his job.
At the same time, Briscoe, he's lucky he didn't take Hamlin out a second time, because I feel like Hamlin would, if his car was junk, be like, okay, hit the 5 minutes. Okay, we're taking out the 14 right now.
No.
Screw him. But I mean, just don't tell his wife that, because I guess she was going after everybody on Twitter.
Wait, whose wife? Whose wife?
Briscoe's.
Oh no.
She actually had to do. I guess she deleted a few tweets and was just like, I guess I'll stay quiet now. And it's like,
oh no.
What did I miss? I saw some screenshots.
I didn't see a
dear.
single tweet, but damn, I guess
no.
Briscoe
was in the wrong. I think. And we've seen this before at Texas, because that's 3 and 4's the side that they didn't mess with, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken,
repaved it. Yeah,
they repaved it.
Yeah.
They repaved it, but it's still the same banking. Because I can remember multiple times from Gen 4, COT, early Gen 6 to this package. Like, turn 4 at Texas, for some reason, is one of the most challenging corners in NASCAR for some reason. Like, somebody hits the outside wall coming out of 4 every single Texas race. Like, never fails.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember Austin Dillon and Harvick got nudged by Harvick and hit the outside wall a few years back, and kind of not the same thing as what happened to Hamlin, but that was a big brouhaha. So yeah, turn 4 it's treacherous, but I remember Truex pounded the outside wall there as well later in the race. So
I remember Truck Series 2011, Kyle Busch and Ron Horner day.
That was more turn 3.
I know
that was unrelated. That wasn't the track's fault. That could have.
Yeah, that was a totally separate incident. But now let's move on to the playoff implications. Before we get to the points, let's give a few shout outs really quick. Chase, I was about to say Chase Briscoe. We've been talking about him so long. No. Christopher Bell finishes P3. He's on the podium. In 9th place, Tyler Reddick. And finally, rounding out the top 10, Daniel Suarez. So Trackhouse getting some good runs in before they officially become, the new Chip Ganassi Racing, basically.
Props to Suarez. It's bad that it ended out in a bad crash, but props to Suarez for holding his ground against Truex.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen any. I didn't hear Truex, even in his post-race interview, didn't say, oh, Suarez needs to be racing me better or easier because I'm in the playoffs, and he's not. Like, Truex, once he saw for sure that he'd come down, you heard him get quiet in his interview. I think he kind of knew, I kind of instigated. That is what it is. I thought TV were the ones, like Junior, Letarte, Burton, Rick Allen, a little bit, were the ones that, at least at first, seemed like, you got to know who you're racing around. That's a playoff driver. And I didn't agree with that. I thought Suarez was doing what he had to do. It was a restart.
Doing his job, racing.
You can't lift. If you lift in turn 4, you lose 3 spots. Yeah. Truex came down and cost himself. That's what happened there.
I mean, even though it's not the playoffs, these guys are still technically racing for, some type of
and
points.
That was much like Briscoe running in the top 10. So that's why he was, I think, a little upset. Yeah. Suarez was having one of his best races of the year running in the top 10. So these guys aren't going to back down when they're having great days.
Hey, the non-playoff drivers aren't going to back down to the playoff ones. I love it. It's more entertaining for us. But now back to the playoffs. So Kyle Larson has officially locked his spot in the championship 4. Congratulations to Kyle Larson Nation and himself. But the rest of the playoff field, though, very interesting. Right now, in 2nd place is Ryan Blaney plus 17. 3rd place, Denny Hamlin plus 9. And rounding out the top 4 is KFB at plus 8. And then we have the bottom 4, the best of the rest so far, in this round of 8, Chase Elliott in P5, minus 8 back. Brad Keselowski with a solid run at Texas. He's in P6 right now, minus 15. But unfortunately, Martin Truex Jr. and Joey Logano did have problems in this race. And Truex is minus 22 in 7th, followed by Logano in 8th, minus 43. So let's get our early thoughts on this. I'll get mine out of the way first. Me saying Ryan Blaney might be inconsistent in this round just based off of history. I'm about to eat those words because, already one race in. I know it's been one race. It's been one race. I know. But I don't know. Based on some of the tracks we're going to and stuff, you can't tell me that Ryan Blaney isn't going to have a solid run at Kansas, barring the unforeseen, and he might be able to coast it into the championship 4 at Martinsville. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, no, he's definitely a shoo-in for the championship 4, but based on my previous predictions, it's looking like I could be proven wrong there. And then also we have Brad Keselowski putting in a solid run. I can't remember the last time we've seen Keselowski run that well, to be honest with you. It's felt like forever. I know he's about to make the transition to running Roush Racing, basically. But, he's looking like he's going out at Penske on a high note, it looks like. So
that's the shock for me after Texas, was seeing Keselowski, who's been the 3rd best Penske car most of this year, run top 5 most of the day. I think he finished 4th, right, and collected at least a few stage points in the first 2 stages.
He finished ahead of Blaney. I was like,
yeah. So Blaney, I know, scored more stage points. That's why he's plus 17, and Keselowski's still below the cut line. Keselowski's in a pretty deep hole coming into this round. He almost needs to win. Top 5s may not be enough, although Texas was a really good start. But to me, the other 2 standouts are the Gibbs guys. The Joe Gibbs Racing, we didn't talk about this. I feel like they struggled at Texas more than I thought they would. Like Hendrick all year, at least Larson for sure, has been so good at the mile and a half. Byron, I'd say, has probably been the next best Hendrick car. They've been so good at the mile and a half this year. And then at Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, Hamlin won, Busch and Truex are both in the top 5. All of a sudden, Joe Gibbs Racing looked like, hey, maybe they caught Hendrick at the mile and a halves. And then this weekend, Penske was, Larson was still number 1. Byron was number 2. Hendrick was still at the top, but then it was Penske, then it was Gibbs. Cause I think the best finishing Gibbs car outside of Bell, who had fresh tires at the end, was Busch in 8th. So Kyle Busch finishing 8th and not getting many stage points. Hamlin finishing outside the top 10. He did get some stage points. I mean, Busch did too, but they didn't get a ton of stage points. The fact that they're both still inside the top 4, a lot of that is being bailed out by, Chase Elliott being, a 7th place car most of the day, Truex wrecking, Logano blowing an engine. But the fact that the 2 Gibbs guys, Hamlin and Busch, are still in the championship 4, at least as of now, despite being mediocre at best at Texas, that's a win in my book for them.
Yeah, I'll give them that.
And I'll be real. I don't think it's going to get like much more drawn out, because if you look at Kansas, Blaney's been good there. Hamlin's won there multiple times in the last 2-3 years. Kyle Busch is the most recent winner there. Chase Elliott's consistent there. Brad Keselowski has won there under this package. Truex could climb back in because, let's be real, Martin Truex Jr. is one of the best drivers in NASCAR.
He's going to go in Martinsville. That's my pick.
I
know we're 2 weeks early.
And then
Joey Logano might need to do some good short track racing. I'll just say
what if Logano wins Kansas like he did last year, and then Truex wins Martinsville and flips this whole thing up on its head? That'd be nuts.
That's true playoffs right there. If that happens, that would be true playoffs.
And knowing the luck of the fans, like, who dislike Truex and Logano, would probably be like Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott getting eliminated because of it.
Yeah, Kyle Busch gets the last spot, or Brad Keselowski.
It'll be like Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, just the 4 most popular people left.
So much for that youth revolution that we thought we had for a second there.
But I mean, after the whole Texas debacle, I mean, Logano's in a must-win situation at this point, and then Truex. I mean, I know he's only 22 back, but I mean, again, we only have 2 more races left. The clock is ticking. So
really quick on Logano, when is the last time we've seen somebody grenade an engine like that?
It's been a while.
It feels like
it's been a while. Yeah, it's been that felt like a true early 2000s NASCAR engine blow up to me, because that used to be a common thing back in the day, but I can't remember the last time that happened.
Yeah, I know for Logano, they said it hadn't been since like 2014 since he'd blown an engine. So
wow,
bad time. But I think it was something Penske was doing. I do think it was legitimately self-inflicted. They were pushing the envelope, because Blaney radioed in at one point in the race that he felt his engine sputter briefly.
No,
so
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they were experimenting a little bit.
Yeah, they're trying to push in the envelope with a certain part or something. I don't know anything about engines, so I sound like an idiot right now. But we've seen teams like I always go back on 2013 Daytona 500. Was it Kenseth and then Hamlin, I think, or maybe Kenseth and then Kyle Busch over the span of like 10 laps, both blew motors from the race lead in that event, and that pissed me off, made me so frustrated.
Oh yeah. By the way, I'm sorry, just really quick. By the way, Eric, on this day, that was the whole Kenseth versus Logano debacle.
On this day, really?
At Kansas, I believe. I think I saw something like that. Yeah. It's crazy.
No.
Or it might have been yesterday. I think I saw that.
Yeah.
It was sometime this week. Yeah.
November. I know for a fact November 1st was when it all came to a head.
Yeah. No, the Kansas one. Yeah. That's where it all started, though. But no, go ahead.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Penske was trying stuff, because like we talk about how Blaney had sputtered, but at the same time, Blaney and Keselowski probably were the two most competitive cars outside of Larson all day. So I'm thinking they were probably trying something, because I mean,
and it worked until it blew up.
And I have to think too is like, they are going to use the same engine next year, so they do have to test stuff out. And what if that worked out and it's like, hey, we can actually stay in the same level of the atmosphere as Kyle Larson for a bit, then that's a win. You might see them make some gains with 550 next year, depending on how that all goes.
I have a feeling though that Penske's probably went to Logano and was like, hey, sorry, we were testing stuff out. Sorry about that. We got you this week though. I can't.
We meant to put that in Brad's car.
Sorry, bro.
The 222, they look alike. We messed up.
Yeah,
That's our bad. Yeah,
it happens.
Roger watching. He's just like, Shit.
She's like, dang, they
That was
uncovered it.
the wrong one.
No, that's funny.
Oh man.
But yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
that's
it's gonna be close, man.
Yeah,
It's
that's
gonna
a
be
playoff
close.
situation. So we'll see who makes it into the championship 4 this weekend. But now moving on to the ratings, the waiting. No, I'm just kidding. The ratings this week. This week's race, or excuse me, last weekend's race at Texas had 2.4 million people watching. It was down from 2.5 million at this time last year at Kansas. I don't know. Like, we're at that part in the season where I don't know. It's like I don't know if I'd call this like a W or basically flatline to me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I this is one of those weeks where there's nothing to get worried about, but nothing to get excited about either. It just kind of you'd wish it ticked up a little bit, given that the last weekend's race at the Roval was such a barn burner that got so many people talking, seemed to have so many good things going for it. I'm a little surprised that it was down just from that perspective. But it's also Texas. I don't know. I feel like there is a lot of like, this was the first Texas race where I looked in the stands and said, oh my God, like, this track may not have a future. Like, do you think there were 20,000 people there?
I have no clue. Like, how many do you think were there?
Like, I remember going to the race in 2019, the spring race, and being like, damn, that's not that many people. But I looked around, I looked back, and I'm like, oh, there's probably 40, 50,000 people. I'm like, man, but there's a lot of gaps in the stands. And they were, they had turns 1 and 2 shut off. They had the covered part at the top of the grandstand shut off. There were maybe 20,000 people there. That is. So I think word has gone around. I think now Texas is like a social pariah. Don't go to Texas. Texas sucks. Like, that word has gone around. Like, it's kind of unfair because Texas, as we saw this weekend, I think can put together a decent race, and it's still a nice facility.
I've contributed to that, Eric. I'm sorry.
I just think the actual conversation around Texas Motor Speedway has become too toxic. Like, I don't know. They need a total rebranding. I don't know how. Super Speedway.
So based on what they had open, I think they had around like 60% of the grandstand open, which is around 70, 80,000. And of that, I think it was like maybe 20% full, if I'm being nice.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah,
I'll go.
It was more. It was probably of what seemed to be open. I would have said it was 30 to 40% full. It was almost half full.
So let's see. Let's say 80,000 is what we had. I got the calculator out.
Yeah,
and
get the famous iceberg calculator. Get it out.
So if that's the case, we are looking at between 25 and 30,000.
And there was not a Cowboys game in town this weekend, so it's bad. I just think 2 years ago it was not this bad. Like, it's dropped. Like, we talk about how all of NASCAR kind of dipped pretty badly, around like 2017 to 2018 after Junior and Danica and all them kind of retired.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Texas has continued that free fall. A lot of other places have flatlined the last 3 or 4 years in both ratings and attendance, but Texas continues to dip. And I think that's the comment. It's shows like ours, quite honestly, and many others that have just given Texas an unfair, not an unfair, I'm sorry, in many ways a fair reputation, but a negative reputation. So is what it is.
I will say, though, I'm going to be really curious because this has happened. So 2018, 19, 20, and 2021 have all been kind of like either flat or steadily going up for NASCAR for the most part.
Yeah.
But and I remember because like the first 2 years we did this, the ratings were up all year. And then the overall ratings were down because of the last 3 to 4 races. And I'm going to be really, really interested to see how Kansas does. Well, if Kansas gets in, depending on weather, but Kansas, Martinsville, Phoenix, I'm going to be really interested in how those 3 races compare to the 3 comparable races of years past. Because I'm just hoping that Texas isn't what kicks off everyone stopping, slowly trickling off at the end of the year.
Yeah, because we had that problem in last year's playoffs. The ratings really dipped inside the final 3 races. They made you go like, whoa, hey, what's going on here?
I don't think being about 80,000 off, though, is terrible.
No.
Especially for Texas,
Compared to Kansas. Again, we're comparing this to a Kansas race. So that's why I do think the reputation of the track is what's probably contributing to that.
I'd say if we have more viewers than last year's Kansas race on Sunday, then I'd be like, okay, no reason to worry. It's just Texas is hated.
Isn't Kansas? Isn't that on NBCSN this weekend?
Yes, the Cup races. Yes.
Yeah. Was Texas on in cable last year?
I don't think so because
I don't know if we're gonna get a fair comparison. That's my only concern.
well, you have
I
to
don't know.
remember last year's Texas race too was like it took 3 days.
Oh
to
yeah,
finish
yeah.
as
Actually,
well.
last
Yeah.
year's Texas race was a wash.
So yes,
Never
it
mind.
was.
Yeah, it's not gonna. We're not gonna get a comparison anyways.
No. Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah,
I was just
I tried to
laughing.
block that out of my memory.
dude.
I was there on Sunday, and I had my at track vlog up 3 days before the race ended.
Oh,
So that was a rough weekend
Yeah,
for
that-
other people, not for me. I went home.
that was the Texas race that never ended. And really quick, guys, we have just hit just over 400 viewers. Make sure to lick the like button, everybody. So make sure to do that. Really appreciate.
I was
you guys tuning
laughing.
in.
I was laughing at the chat because this poor guy delivered the hottest of hot takes. Marshall in the chat
Uh-oh.
said Texas is better than Homestead. Homestead sucks and is way overrated.
He's trolling. He's trolling. Come on, that's just a troll. No, don't.
I
do
saw
that.
a few people were clowning him in the
Yeah,
chat. That made me laugh.
guys, he's just joking. No way he's serious. No way.
Sorry, Marshall. I didn't mean to bring even more, put a bigger target on you, but
I know,
you're
put a
you're
giant
asking
target
for
on-
it.
You just put a giant target on his back, fittingly so.
What's
Oh,
next?
All right, so up next, it's the poll, the famous iceberg poll. Jarrett, do we have a new poll record?
No.
Dang, all the build-up. Oh well, but hey, at least
All right.
how many people voted at least?
14.7K. We're like in that even range, around
good.
14 to
You-
15,000 each
I gotta
week.
give Jarrett props. He on these polls, he gets a consistent 15,000 votes. So it's not
The
always
pulse
a
of the
poll
nation.
record, but hey, it's YouTube's premier NASCAR poll. I guess it's awesome.
It's in the same. It takes 3 days for me to get 80% of what Jeff Gluck gets in one.
Yeah. So hey, at least that's a start. That's a start, bro. That's a start.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Let's go.
Well, I asked y'all, what did you think of the 2021 Echo Park Automotive 500? And 13% of you said this was a great race. 48% said good race. 26% said average. 7% said below average. 6% said bad. Net positivity is 61%. I believe if that's not the highest,
That is the high. That has to be
the highest
That
for
has to be
Texas.
the highest. No way. That has to be the highest. I think.
13% negative. It has to be within the normal one, if not lower. So, the people are on your side, Eric.
I gave it, I think, I gave it a 75 out of 100 is what I gave it, which is probably the highest Texas race I've given in a long time.
Yeah, I'd give it
Although
a
I
6
just-
out of 10. Yeah.
I realized something. Echo Park, they sponsored the Circuit of the Americas race and the Texas race. So they covered the whole state. I guess
went
it's all
on.
SMI. So they probably signed one contract.
They're like, wait a minute. We don't have 2 Texas Motor Speedway races. Score!
Yes. Yeah.
Missed the days of the Samsung Radio Shack 500.
Oh,
Those are-
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and those are the days.
I remember when it was
RIP
just
Radio Shack.
Samsung 500.
Yeah.
I remember
the-
when Samsung was a thing at races.
the Dickies 500.
Oh yeah,
Good
the
times.
Dickies
Oh, yeah.
500. What was another
That's
name
right.
too? Wasn't it like at one point
AAA
the AAA?
Texas.
Yeah, the AAA.
It was AAA Texas for a long time.
Yeah.
They rolled off the tongue nicely. I always liked that one.
Yeah.
Man, Texas goes through sponsors the way that Daniel Hemrick goes through teams.
But always remember. Oh God, I don't even want to bring that. But always remember this, guys. Always remember this. Texas, North Wilkesboro Speedway died for Texas Motor Speedway. Always remember that. All right, go ahead.
Okay, jeez.
It was a good business decision for about
all right,
15
yeah,
years.
It's a good one. Yeah, that's a
And
good
now
one
it's
at
looking
first.
really foolish.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got these votes here. Ryan Morrison, he has the top comment here. Says YouTube on Texas with 0 wrecks. Texas is boring. YouTube on Texas with 10 wrecks. Texas is awesome.
I mean, dude, it's sad that it takes a bunch of cautions to make the race somewhat interesting.
They know this community so well.
Did you just point out that we had 400?
Yeah, I always.
Oh, the show's off the rails,
my
man.
God. Let's go.
All
Thank
right,
you, guys.
Tank Slapper says Joey Logano's engine blowing up like that, and Anthony Alfredo's.
Alfredo.
Hey, I'm
Frito
on your
pie.
channel. I'm getting your energy, Darian.
Yeah.
Anthony Alfredo's fuel tank rupturing, causing a fire, made it feel like a Gen 4 era race from about 15 years ago.
Yeah, no, because
That's one of the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just about to say that wreck really brought back the Bobby Labonte 2003 Chicagoland vibes. Like, it was really bad.
I'll tell you what, that's one thing I don't miss about those races is the
Yeah.
fires that seem to be semi-regular.
It's scary.
Oh, here it is. Weatherboy had the statistics and stuff. And yeah, so this race had 8 lead changes, 1,600 green flag passes, and 11 cautions.
Dang. 11.
And he even put a star and denoted which ones had no practice in qualifying. Man, Weatherboy needs to get more upvotes in the chat.
Yeah, he does.
He's on it.
Yeah.
He's on it, man.
That is details at its finest.
I've noticed it the last couple weeks, but there's so much that I like that he leaves and I can't read it all. So like when I saw it when I was going through the comments and I was like, oh my god, I'm doing a video on this. Hell yeah, man! So thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Nick says that Eric Jones still getting a top 12 in an RPM car is fire.
They said during the broadcast he has the best average, maybe not now, but he had the best average finish of all active drivers at Texas Motor Speedway. I didn't realize that.
Damn.
Well, you remember he beat Junior there in like 2015, and that really put him on the map. I remember that.
I remember that because wasn't he in the purple car?
Yep.
Junior was.
He was, and he was leading too at one point. And then
I just remember because he made a Vikings reference about Alan Page. No, Eric Jones flat out beat him straight up. Like that was impressive.
That was cool.
Forged Calamity says Dale Jr. needs to keep calling out wrecks happening. I'm literally watching my driver up front on screen, but then he sounds so concerned. I think he wrecked.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he has that effect, and it's awesome. It's awesome to have that type of commentator in the booth again. You know,
I like it because to me, watching the Fox races this year, you felt like Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, and Jeff Gordon were either looking at a monitor or reading a script the entire time. Mm-hmm. But watching NBC, I can't say the same for everyone in the booth, but for Dale Earnhardt Jr., it's clear he's looking out the window the whole time, watching what's actually happening on the track. He's not half listening to what Rick Allen's saying.
He's so into it, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And I can respect that. I think that comes through, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. I think he was talking about that like this week and last, and he was like, yeah, they like to have you look at the monitors, and I'm just like looking out the window, and you like see a picture of him, and like they're like you see Letarte and Rick Allen and Burton looking at a monitor, and then Junior's like crouched over looking out the window at the track like a little kid.
It's great.
Yeah.
Bears fans, close your ears on this one. I still own you, Kyle Larson to the rest of the field.
Good reference. Timely.
Yeah. Well, Aaron Rodgers does own him. I'm sorry, Bears fans.
Yeah, that's a good time. But Kyle Larson, yeah, dominant. Sorry, Jared, you good to go?
You good?
Yeah, I'm all good. Let's see. Tabular bike. Okay, this one he's kind of got what I got here. So don't let the last 30 laps distract you from the first 300.
Stage 2 sucked. Everything else I thought was.
It was all right. it was okay.
I looked at this race kind of like I look at the Indy 500. The Indy 500, the cars are on edge, but it's not a ton of passing. It's single file for the most part. You'll make a move. It's about who can throw it deeper into the corner, who can take the risk and play with the air the most. That's kind of how I saw Texas. It was a strategy race. Stage 1 was all about fuel strategy, who can save, who can't, who uses the draft, who uses the arrow. So in that respect, I kind of watched it like an oval Indy car race, and I thought, it was okay.
Hey, chat, imagine if Eric said, hey, I viewed this race like the Indy 500. Texas is better than the Indy 500.
And not from a grandstand, just visually what was happening on the racetrack. Yeah.
Texas Motor Speedway has more tradition than the Indy 500 combined.
Hey, they do call it the Great American Speedway. That's red-blooded right there.
We're reaching now. All right, go ahead.
Let's go shooting pumpkins afterwards. Why don't we do that?
Hey,
Eddie Gossage in charge of Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Hey, props to Eddie Gossage. I know I would always give him a hard time when he was the president, but like he's living his best life in retirement. It looks like
he turns the whole pagoda, every inch of it, every square inch is now a TV.
For those of you that are listening or don't get what I'm referencing, Eddie Gossage said he's enjoying retirement, and he showed a picture of him shooting a pumpkin from point blank range
to carve it. He had good accuracy. He carved a little face with bullets. It was the most Texas stereotype. That's what like New Yorkers think of Texas when they think of Texas. So
what was
good on him?
Oh God, I can't believe I'm blanking on this. Lethal Weapon. He was just reenacting Lethal Weapon. He was just being Mel Gibson.
Oh yeah.
Before Mel Gibson was known to be crazy.
Yeah, before he was a wacko, but yeah.
Oh, he's always been a wacko.
Yeah.
MVR owner. Why am I a Miami Dolphins fan? All I live by is pain. I just thought I'd add that in there because MVR owner.
They're 1-5, by the way, and they have no first round pick. But go ahead.
Oh, we got Kyle Larson in here, and he says, "I made it to the championship 4."
Yes, you did. Good job.
That's the most excitement he's shown in his voice all year. It's just been so easy for him.
Well, remember the last time he got a little too excited. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead. Let's continue. I'm joking. I'm just kidding.
All right. So I did this last week, Eric. I accidentally read the most recent comment. So we're going to do the most recent comment. I want you guys, and we're going to then do the first comment. So I want you guys to guess, was it positive or negative most recent comment from Marshall Griffin 4 minutes ago?
That's the guy who's just trashing Texas or trashing Homestead.
Yeah.
Oh, negative. He doesn't know what he's talking
Negative.
about.
Yeah,
He's throwing everyone under the bus.
Negative.
Positive. At least the weather was good.
Oh my god.
It was a beautiful weekend in
Yeah.
Texas.
I'll give him that.
All right. Now I got to scroll down, scroll. Let's go through like 500 comments. Come on. We'll get there. What was first comment? First comment.
You can do it. You can do it.
From Denny Delivers.
Oh,
no.
Was it positive or negative?
It's positive, bro. I love Denny Delivers, by the way.
I'm gonna say negative. Hamlin had a rough day.
Positive.
SpongeBob. Hey, Patrick, what am I now? Patrick, boring. SpongeBob, no, I'm Texas. Patrick, what's the difference? Stage 3. Blah, as if.
Oh man.
So I guess it's kind of mixed. It started negative.
Yeah, I don't really know how to.
It's probably negative. I guess it's negative. It's the undertones are clearly negative. It's sneering at Texas Motor Speedway, which I understand.
Why did I like? So I know I can't read it in their voices, but why the hell did I hear their voices in my head when I read it?
Your Patrick was pretty good.
Yeah,
Stupid.
Boring. No, I'm Texas.
What's the difference?
I'll tell you what though. You want to hear something really funny? Listen to Patrick Starr in the movie Jennifer's Body.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah, find the deleted scene. Yeah, find that. Oh man. All right, go ahead.
Xfinity race.
Yes,
That's the poll. That's the poll.
that was the poll, the famous iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly podcast. But we didn't just have Cup Series racing; we also had Xfinity Series racing on Saturday. And now, me personally, it was a very personal day because Saturday was the 10-year anniversary of Dan Wheldon's passing at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I went down there to pay my respects for a little bit before the race started, and then even met up with Justin Pelcher. He's on NASCAR Twitter. We DM each other all the time. He's also a Las Vegas local, and we were just talking about that day. He was actually there that day, so like he was like a little teary-eyed talking about it and stuff. But hey, it was great to see him there. It was cool, and he's been going every single year since that tragic day. So I was at the track for a little bit, but then once I got back, I was like, oh yeah, Texas. All right, let's get this Texas weekend over with Xfinity.
This one I liked.
Yeah, it was
I'll
a good
give him
one.
this.
It was a good one, but here's the thing: the racing gods have decided that Daniel Hemrick will never win a NASCAR race in the top 3 series. Look, Daniel Hemrick is an awesome driver. Okay. Former Cup Series Rookie of the Year, got jettisoned after a year. I mean, that'd be for
Jettisoned?
Yeah, I mean,
What a verb. That was a good word
hey,
choice.
that's thesaurus, bro. I'm on it. I'm on it, bro. I'm telling you. And at the same time, I'll like mispronounce the words. But anyways,
Man, I'm gonna get you like another. I'm gonna get you a thesaurus for
A word a day calendar.
hey, but I'm using those big boy words. But not.
We need to do
anyway.
like an alphabet with
Big
Black
boy.
Flags Matter video.
Hey, I'm
D
down.
is for Deary.
A is for at Atlanta.
Atlanta. Oh god.
O is for once again.
Yeah, somebody make that. But no, Daniel
Man, I
Hemrick.
got Eric so bad he went out of frame.
But Daniel Hemrick is a good driver. The problem is he has no luck to put it together. It was clear as day that was going to be his race. That caution comes out and then basically reshuffles the field all of a sudden. And then out of nowhere, John Henry Nemechek comes out of nowhere and steals the show, basically. So
Well, Nemechek, was he speedy? How did he get put back in traffic? I forget. It was a penalty. Was it for speed? Oh, no, it was crew member over the wall too soon.
Yeah.
That's what the whole penalty was for. So he had the best car. 54 is the fastest car in that race by a clear margin. And he's a good enough driver that, he wasn't the one who made the big mistake. It was, I guess, his crew. It was just a bad situation there. But, John Henry Nemechek, I mean, we talked to him earlier this week, but you'll hear from him here shortly.
Yeah.
He's focused on his Truck Series championship, or contending for the Truck Series championship, where he's probably the favorite at this point. But rolling into Xfinity and winning, I think that's his second career Xfinity win.
Mm-hmm.
He was clearly the guy to beat. And it's a shame that for like the a millionth time, it was Daniel Hemrick who had to, bear the brunt of it, finishing second.
10th time, by the way.
Man,
10th time.
I just feel bad because this was Hemrick's race. He had the lead even after that caution came out. I believe he was the first driver to come off pit road with tires. I think he was restarting up in the second row. So, he just couldn't get through traffic quick enough, or, Nemechek had too much time to catch up and everything. And it just, it's a shame. It's a shame to lose to your teammate every time. He seems to be a good sport about it. He went over. I saw him on TV before they cut away. He kind of like fist bumped.
But bro,
fist bump Nemechek or whatever.
It's got to be frustrating though. Eternally, it has to.
But he knows he's got to ride for another year. He's going to college next year. Yeah. He's going to probably contend for a championship again. And even now, we'll look at the points in a second. He's very much in contention still for another championship for berth. Dude does not win, but he gets there. He gets to this close to the promised land, but he at least keeps your team in it until the very last weekend of the season. So he's a good driver. Like we've all been saying, he's a good driver. He's not inspiring because he's 30 years old, has not won a race. He's been in great equipment most of his career. But he's not bad. Anyone who's ever said Hemrick is bad is lying to themselves and is lying to you. Yeah. He's just not the most exciting guy. I want to see him do a backflip because that'll get me out of my seat. That'll get me hyped.
I forget he can backflip. Yeah, I forget that.
So chat or one of you guys fact check this, but I am sick says that win number 10 for the 54. So if that's right. The case, the 54 has won 10 times. And Hemrick 10 times in his career, runner up without a win. But I want to bring something up about the 54 team because this has happened with every driver. It seems like the driver is really not the problem at all in that car. It always seems like the team makes some kind of mess up the driver has to overcome, whether, it's over the wall too soon or a slow pit stop or something like that. It always seems like pit road is the weakness for that team. Like, it's like their kryptonite. Something always happens on pit road. It's just the fact that John Hunter Nemechek had a freaking rocket ship in Texas. His charge up there was impressive because it was hard as hell to pass that whole race.
Well,
and he just absolutely flew through the field like a hot knife through butter.
Well, remember, Eric, you and me were told personally by one of the Xfinity drivers, hey, yeah, that 54 is the best in the field right now. Like,
yeah, I think Joe Gibbs. Well, I don't know about every weekend, but I know especially the weekends certain drivers are in it. But I'll bet overall that car it's getting the best stuff. Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
It is their best car. They have Chris Gale as the crew chief, who was a Cup Series crew chief last year. So they have smart people working on it. They have tremendous resources behind that car in particular, even compared to maybe some of the other Joe Gibbs racing cars. And I will say this. I don't mean to, this feels like now I'm going out of the way to be mean, but I do want to acknowledge this. You just said it. 10 times that car has won this year. I think Kyle Busch, who knows, great. Ty Gibbs has been tremendous this year. Winning in his first ever Xfinity race is great. But honestly, the fact that now Nemechek has won, Christopher Bell won in this car, at some point, I'm not that impressed if you win in the 54 car now. Like, I'm a little bit, but I'm not nearly as impressed by people who win in the 54. Look, the 19 has not won this year. It won 4 times last year, or 3 times, I think. The 20 has not won this year. It won 4 times last year. The 18 has not won. It was Riley Herbst, so it did not win last year. But, it has not won. The only Joe Gibbs car that's won is the 54. And it's won a third of the races this season. Like, Ty Gibbs had some great runs. He's a good driver. He's got a lot to learn still, but he's really raw talented. Kyle Busch is great. Obviously, Bell's good. Nemechek's good. At some point, I think winning in the 54 is just not that impressive anymore.
It's a Mickey ride. It's a Mickey ride, right?
If you don't run at least in the top 5, if you don't at least run top 4 and lead some laps, you had a terrible day. That looks bad on you as the driver. So I don't know. Texas was maybe the anomaly. Like, I think that car is usually one of the top 2 or 3 cars, but Texas, it was so clearly the best car.
What happens if you put Hemrick in the 54? Because you have unstoppable force versus a movable object.
Just do it for 1 week. There's only 2 or 3. Just do it for 1 week. Like, Hemrick will still collect driver points, right? Maybe it messes up the owner's points a little bit, but he'll still collect.
Yeah.
Put Hemrick in the 54 for 1 week. Just one race.
Do it and see what happens.
Newer fans are getting a taste of what a lot of in the 2000s, a lot of fans had to deal with the 18 car in the then nationwide series.
Oh, I remember
think it was
those days.
Was it Clint Boyer who said you could put a monkey in that car and it'd win?
Yeah.
Or run fifth. Yeah. Run fifth, I think it was.
Yeah, that era was, oh my goodness. Yeah, Kyle Busch was winning almost every weekend.
So is Ty Dillon the only one who hasn't won in that car?
Oh no!
Sure.
Yes.
Well, to be fair, didn't he race didn't he do 2 of the super speedways in that car?
Yeah, but he only made 1.5 mile start at Vegas earlier this year. and
I
think he DNF'd in that one.
There was a race he blew in a motor or something in one of the races, so he like got the one like lemon of the group. Like I don't know what happened that weekend. So some bad luck for Ty Dillon. But you're right. I think you're right. I think he might be the only driver in that car that has not won this year.
Yes, but now moving on to the hold on. Before we get to the Xfinity Series playoff situation, let's give a few shout outs here. First off, shout out to Michael Annett getting a top 10 finish in P9.
Might be his last ever.
Yep, Kaz Gralla finishing 15th. And how about Bailey Curry with a 17th place run? What car was he running? A Rick Ware car? Or
let me check.
74 maybe.
Yeah, or Mike Harmon maybe. Wow. Okay, so getting
I don't know. I'm not sure. I know he's been in the 74 before, I believe.
Yeah. No, I mean I've heard the name and I've seen him race before and stuff, but he's always been one of those underfunded guys. And I'm like, how good is this guy? But yeah, 17th place finish.
He was in the 15 car. Says for Johnny Davis.
Oh, yeah. I think that's like some of the best equipment he's raced in since being in NASCAR. Wow. Okay. Well, hey.
Well, I'll show. You want to hear who he finished ahead of?
Who?
Because he finished on the lead lap.
Nice.
He finished ahead of Tommy Joe Martins, Josh Williams, Austin Hill, Myatt Snyder, and Ryan Vargas.
And those guys are pretty they're quality guys for midfield drivers. So yeah, that's saying a lot. So hey, props to him. Shout out to him. But now I want to really quick. I want to bring this up really quick too. Brendan Brown, unfortunately, he was really down on himself after that wreck too, and he had a lot of emotion on his Twitter. Hopefully he's doing good now and stuff. But yeah, no, that wasn't cool to see because he was on such a high, after winning at Dega and stuff and all the media stuff that's come after it, and now, basically he is down low again and stuff. I mean that's racing. Yeah. That's racing in a nutshell.
Hey.
So.
I see in the chat from What the Dog Doing. Hamlin, I think, was the other one who didn't win.
Oh, is he not? He did.
Oh, he was in the 54 as
Darlington.
Well. Yeah.
Darlington.
He dominated that race, wasn't it? It was a penalty at the very end. No, he spun out. He was so fast that he spun out in stage one, came back to still be the class of the field, and then he had a penalty late.
Yeah.
So
another penalty for the 54 team.
Well, I have to remember, was that speeding? Because Hamlin's known to speed. I can't remember now.
It might have been.
Either way, pit road is the Achilles heel of that 54.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, but now moving on to the playoff situation. So John Hunter Nemechek won, but he's not a playoff driver, so nobody's locked in just yet. So AJ Allmendinger is currently P1 plus 30 above the cut line, followed by Austin Cindric plus 26 in P2. Justin Allgaier sitting P3, but only plus 4. And then rounding out the top 4 is Noah Gragson in 4th.
Wow. Noah could get a championship 4 appearance. Look at that.
And then the best of the rest in the bottom 4, Daniel Hemrick P5 minus 2. But man, just imagine if he won, he'd be locked in by now. Justin Haley minus 6 in P6. And 7th and 8th, they're going to have their work cut out for them to get into the championship 4. Harrison Burton and Brandon Jones, both minus 21 and minus 32 respectively. So now that I just listed off that playoff list, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, do you see anybody like locking themselves in this week, or is the 54 going to win again?
Okay, hold up. Do not count Brandon Jones out until after this week.
Yep. I was just
Kansas.
about to say.
I remember watching him win at Kansas in 2019. He won in 2020 in one of them. Kansas is a good track for Brandon Jones.
Yeah, be on the lookout.
And he just signed an extension for another year, so he's going to be racing a little more relaxed, perhaps. He's not going to be pressing maybe as hard as he would be otherwise.
Getting that big money from Menards.
Yeah,
to save big money at Menards, and it goes into Brandon Jones's pocket.
But hey, shout out to Gragson though. I mean, again, we had said this throughout the season. It's like, damn, where's he been? Where's the performance been? But then ever since he signed that deal, I mean, he won 2 races in a row before the playoffs started, and now he's in a position to compete for the championship 4. So, attaboy to him.
Yeah, no, Gragson he's only plus 2, so it's still anyone's game. It's going to be interesting if it comes down to him and Hemrick, who've had, their own run-in earlier in the season. If it comes down to the two of them for the final spot, that's just good TV drama. I can already see the NBC cutaway to the fight at, I don't even remember what track that was earlier this year. I think Justin Haley still within striking distance. Harrison Burton and Brandon Jones are the two that are kind of in must-win territory, but they're in Joe Gibbs cars. And I know no other Joe Gibbs cars have won this year, but just that name alone on the side of your Toyota means you're a contender, especially this weekend at Kansas, where I think the car you're driving matters probably more than the driver behind the wheel. So, we'll see what happens. I think Allmendinger is the only one who I'd say I'm comfortable with because I think he'll run well at Martinsville. Cindric, how long has it been since Austin Cindric won a race?
I think it's been a minute, maybe. It's been.
I'm gonna look up his stats. Y'all can talk about something else. But I was thinking about this, and I meant to look this up earlier because I feel like we always talk about Cindric being right there with Allmendinger, and he's been very consistent. He's very fast.
He just hasn't won in a while.
He's cooled off a little bit.
While you're doing that, I mean, just third through sixth is an absolute dogfight.
Yeah.
Third, Allgaier +4, Gregson +2 in fourth. Fifth, Daniel Hemrick, of course, -2, and then Haley is -6.
All right, so I'm a dumbass because he won like 10 races ago, so it's been a little while since the Indy Road Course. But his last few starts,
we were there.
Well, no, I remember that, but that's 3 months ago. But he's finished his last 5 races: 2nd, 4th, 8th, 2nd, 5th, and he's led at least 10 laps in all of those races. So I'm an idiot. He's been fine, but it feels like he's not as fast as Allmendinger or some of the other guys. I think maybe that's just because the 54 is always winning. I don't know.
I think it's also because Allmendinger has gotten faster. It feels like as the years went on.
I mean, the last time he almost won, was at Bristol, and you saw how that ended. So he was close.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just shocked at how unobservant, I guess, I've been.
But I'd say third through sixth is literally just one stage away from completely flipping over. Those are the guys who are at the chase for points. I feel like the two on either end are kind of in a better place. They got to go for points. You never know what'll happen. But of course, let's be real. I don't think Brandon Jones, if he doesn't win at Kansas, I don't think he's catching up in points. No. I think Harrison Burton of these 8 is probably the worst running of them, looking forward at it. But man, I think I'm just surprised with how Allmendinger's turned it on in the last 2.5 months or so. He's just been consistently top 5 speed every week. And he was fast before, but I mean, it does feel like at this point he's kind of the favorite going into the last 3 races.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
Looking like that for sure. Well,
we'll count out Allgaier at Phoenix. He's I don't know if dark horse is even the right word, but if he makes it in, I think he's going to be a threat.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. But yes, those are the Xfinity Series playoff standings. And now moving on to the famous mailbag question on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. This week's mailbag question comes from Jonathan. Thank you so much, bro, for the support.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yep. His question says, hi, guys. What is the biggest bucket list item in your NASCAR collection that you don't have yet? For me, it has to be a piece of Dale Jr.'s sheet metal. Oh, yeah, definitely. Love the show. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. I'll answer that first. So a piece of Dale Jr.'s sheet metal. I'd say maybe a piece from one of the championship cars from the past. Maybe that might be one. I mean, I don't know. It's I always watch the old Winston Cup highlights and stuff, and it's back in those days when you were competing for the championship. I mean, obviously the playoffs are entertaining and stuff now, but back in those days, when somebody won the championship, you knew, yeah, they were without a doubt the best, without question. Didn't have to question it, all that stuff. So maybe a piece from one of the vintage championship cars. That might be on my bucket list. So I'd say I'll say that.
I'll go next. I saw this at Bristol, and it was I think $250, and I didn't bite the bullet and buy it, and now it's never at any of the vendors anywhere. It's a 2003 Super Speedway Monte Carlo nose, but it's a test car. So you can paint anything you want on it. And and I'm not just saying it's just the nose. I'm saying it's the nose with the lights that meets right up to as the iceberg fly goes by, right up to the hood and halfway up the wheel well. And it's
wow.
You can put whatever you want. And I was like, all right, next Bristol race I go to, I'm gonna get that nose. I'm going to bring it home, and I'm going to paint it like Dale Jr.'s Daytona 500 winner, and I'm going to use that as my TV stand. And then I went back and they're like, oh, yeah, we sold that 3 weeks ago. I'm like, no. Damn it. So I want one of those. If somebody has that for the nice price, because I looked online for another one, and I'm like, I'm not dropping $2,000 for that. If someone wants to give me $250 or wants $250, $300 from me, I will pay that for it. So if you have it, just letting you know, putting that out there, like just a little feeler out there, like that's on the table.
Yeah.
My big thing that I honestly want, we have two things. I'll say the lesser one I kind of only recently thought of is I want a Matt Kenseth 2003 jacket, like not necessarily like a pit jacket, but like one of the ones that has like the Winston Cup champion patch and stuff, one that fits nice. Because I had kind of like a pullover a while back that I got on like eBay for like $40, but it didn't fit that well and it was kind of cheaply made. I'd want to get one that's like one of the $300, like super nice, like a Letterman jacket that's Matt Kenseth that fits me good. I'm a tall, awkwardly shaped man, so it's sometimes hard for me to find clothes that fit well. But if I can find one, I would love that. But more importantly, I want, if anyone ever, please DM me on Twitter if you're selling one, if you know somebody who is, I want a DeWalt hood. Honestly, preferably from Matt Kenseth, but if it was an Eric Jones hood, and maybe not Marcus Ambrose, unless it was like, did he ever win with DeWalt on the hood? I think
Twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I think it was usually Stanley on the hood, not DeWalt. So yeah, I wanted a yellow with the black logo DeWalt hood. It could be from a show car. It could be paint. Could be, custom made as long as it looks really legit and realistic. I just want a big DeWalt hood to hang on my wall somewhere one day. That's what I want.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, once again,
I saw on eBay recently, and I almost pulled the trigger. No, I didn't because it was like $3,000. But I saw on eBay, and it's probably still up there. Someone was selling Matt Kenseth's Circle K fire suit that they claim was race used, and they show photos of it being used at his Phoenix win in 2017. I don't know that it's actually that fire suit. Yeah. I'm skeptical, which is why it's not going back. But it was like $2,000 or $3,000. But I was like, that's like, should I take out, like, I don't have a house. I was about to say, should I take out a second mortgage or something? But I don't have a house.
Should I take out a mortgage?
Do you think the bank will loan me $3,000
for this
fire suit?
It's like, is it to invest in a business? No, I'm trying to buy a fire suit with no return investment whatsoever.
We're gonna freeze your assets for about 48 hours, Mr. Eastep.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see if it's still there. I'm gonna see if it's still there, and if there are any wealthy gentlemen or any wealthy collectors in the chat, you'll be able to find it and go buy it. Like, by all means, I'd love for one of you to have it if I can't.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for that awesome mailbag question on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, where can they submit the mailbag questions at?
weeklypodcastguest@gmail.com, all lowercase. Submit your questions there. Remember, we only got 3 more weeks left this season, so you got 3 more chances to get your question read. And don't ask to be a guest, or we will completely ignore you.
Yes.
Good Lord,
it is, and we will do it again.
The fire suit is still up on eBay, $2,500.
Oh, it's on
so we
sale.
got marked down.
Yeah, it's sale. Hey, go ahead, bro. Yeah, hit up the bank.
Hey, shipping's only $9.
Hey,
what a win!
Sounds like a steal.
Jeez Louise.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on to the lightning round, we have to do a little bit of an ad read. This edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast is brought to you by Lionel Racing. Get the official diecast of NASCAR. Order the new 2021 diecast of your favorite NASCAR driver now at LionelRacing.com or any Lionel authorized retailer. Don't miss Lionel Racing's NASCAR Authentics diecast wave at a Walmart near you. Gentlemen, what diecast do you have?
I've got the Silver Bullet. Sterling Marlin Coors Light.
Oh, I thought that was the Chevy for a second. I was about to say
no, it was a
rare.
Dodge.
Nice.
Not that rare. It's not that special.
Like that might be the 2003 edition, maybe. I don't know.
I forget now. I think this was 02.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm honestly forgotten. I looked it up when I first got it, but I don't remember now for sure. But
it looks nice.
Yeah, looks very nice. Love it.
So this one I bought a few weeks ago for $20. It was the first NASCAR diecast that's an elite version I ever got, and it's Jeff Gordon's 2004 Monte Carlo, and this thing is sharp. First off, I don't know if you can see it, but those are actual brackets in the spoiler. Like they're not just molded on.
Details.
And like open it up and they have like all the tethers like here and here and here.
Like it looks so good.
Yeah, and like you literally just can see like everything underneath, like everything moves a little bit. You know, there's tons of give. Like when you hold on, let me take the hood open one more time. Like literally you can see all the hoses and stuff in here and you can move them around and everything. I looked in the car because I was that kind of person, and there's literally a wire that connects the dash to the freaking steering wheel. I don't know if you can see it. It's like right in there. There's a little bit of red right there.
Oh, I see it. I see the red. Yeah.
I see red.
See it
oh,
right
yeah,
there.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, dude.
I found this for $20 and I was like, oh yeah, sure. Cause I wanted to get a 2004 Gordon car, for reasons. And I was like, oh, I'll get this one. And then it came in and I'm like, I'm opening it up next to my dad and he's like, I just go, holy shit.
Oh,
He's like, what about it? I'm like, this is awesome.
it's so detailed, man. I love it.
I love the detail. I mean, I'm literally like, I don't know if you can see, I literally can move the wheels back.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, it's bouncing. Yep, got that
It's
ride
so
height.
cool.
Got that ride height. I love
It's
it.
so cool.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, so that's my diecast this week.
So this is a Dale Jr. throwback one to 1997, one of his first Busch Series starts before he drove the famous number 3 AC Delco Chevrolet to 2 Busch Series championships. So I want to say he might have drove this car at Rockingham, maybe. I don't know, but I found this at one of the track shops and stuff outside of the track, and I was like, yep, I gotta have it. So definitely a keeper for me for sure. But yeah,
In the packaging, that's cool. And actually, I was just checking my notes. I think this was a 2004, actually.
oh no, that's when he was starting to go downhill a little bit.
That's
But
why
hey,
it
you
was-
know what? It still looks nice though. It still looks nice. I love it.
It's paint schemes never does. Some of the worst drivers in NASCAR history have had some great paint schemes. Not that Sterling Marlin is one of the worst drivers in
Yeah,
NASCAR.
no, don't be saying
Yeah,
that.
for Kevin Conway.
Yay, Kevin Conway.
I'm just saying,
we have to find a
paint
freaking
scheme doesn't
extends
make the
diecast.
driver.
We have to find.
I
an
found one.
Oh, you did?
2010 Robbie Gordon. I might buy it. It's a pink one.
Oh, buy it. Yes, buy it, bro.
See previous conversation. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna write that down really quick so I don't forget.
But yeah, thank you so much to Lionel Diecast for sponsoring the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Make sure to pick up your 2021 Lionel Diecast Authentic Wave at any Walmart near you. Okay, boys. I think I sensed something.
A disturbance in the force.
I sense something. A presence I have not felt since. It's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Did my mic cut out?
A little.
Oh, dang
bad.
it. It didn't cut out last week, though. But hey, you know what?
Well,
It's all
so
good.
it cut out on our ends last week, and then it didn't.
Oh, got you. Well, Jarrett, what do we have on tap tonight?
Surprisingly, not too much, but what we do have is big. Tony Stewart is launching an NHRA team with his fiance Leah Pruitt. So I got that wrong last week. Apologize for that. As the driver, as well as another entry, John Hunter Nemechek, who you will hear from in a little bit on this show. He is returning to KBM in the Ford truck in 2022.
And you'll hear his thoughts, his decision-making process behind that move shortly.
Todd Bodine is set to run 6 races in 2022 to reach 800 career starts in the National Series. So the Onion is coming back.
Yeah. Or as Dale Jr. would call him, cue ball back in the 90s.
Key ball. Liberty University signed on as William Byron sponsor through 2026 and will be the primary for 12 races annually, according to Adam Stern.
Big.
Interstate Batteries. No problem. Interstate Batteries is expected to also have a multi-year extension with JGR, which I think they said would sponsor like 9 races, but I'm not sure. I think that's both with Cup and Xfinity, but will sponsor Kyle Busch in 2022. I think it's been lasting since, I think that's 30 years now. This deal has lasted.
Wow. They've been there since, Joe Gibbs in their 30th year. So I think they've been there since the beginning.
Since the start. Yeah.
News today from Bob. All 3 of the top touring series are set to have qualifying and practice at Phoenix for the finale this year.
Sweet.
And last but not least, Brandon Jones will be returning to the number 19 JGR Xfinity Series Toyota in 2022 with Menards as sponsor.
Okay.
Good for him. I think they said Menards for all 36 races, or 30, I think 3 or whatever the Xfinity race series has, which I believe that's an increase because this year I know he has not had Menards for every race.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think that's definitely a lot of races.
Good.
All right.
Sweet.
Is that the lightning round, Jared?
Yeah, it's the lightning round. I mean, if there's something else that would have happened.
And once again, that'll conclude the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
I know Darian wants to read a lot of the super chats we've gotten so far in just a moment. But first, this episode of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast is also sponsored by Forney Industries. Get it done with green. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and much, much more. Great for do-it-yourselfers, or if you're a professional metal worker, Forney has everything you need for your next project. Shop Forney's top-of-the-line products at forneyInd.com, Forney, I-N-D. It's in the description down below, or check them out at an authorized Forney dealer near you. But yes, now Darian, I believe you've got some super chats to check out. What are the fans talking about?
Yeah, we got some
at
super
home?
chats. We got a few super chats. Really appreciate it, guys.
I'll set the 5-minute clock for you.
Oh, nice. You'll set it for me. Awesome.
I'll set it for you. I got you.
Cool,
I got
cool.
you.
All right.
Just tell me when.
All right. Just give me a second. Let me get this out really quick. All right. I'm ready when you are. Let me know.
And green flag.
Nice. All right. Jay Walker, Master of Lightning. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Geez, Harvick's still whining about Chase. Where's Jimmy Spencer and the crying towel when you need them? Yeah, I don't. Somebody has to give context. I don't know what the question was that led to Harvick bringing that up. Maybe
They asked them about the meeting they had with NASCAR earlier in the week.
Okay.
And yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, yeah, Harvick just being Harvick as usual. Platinum Paradise, thank you for the $2 super chat. Just stopped in to say Texas sucks. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you for the super chat though. But yeah, sorry, Eric. They just keep you were talking about the reputation.
I assume
of
they're
Texas.
talking about the track, and
Yeah.
the track's not great.
Yeah. Unfortunately. NASCAR fan 6056, thank you so much for the $6.99 Canadian super chat. Nice. I see what you did there. Awesome. Question for all. This is for everybody. What has been the best and worst years for NASCAR on Fox and NBC? And what could they do to improve on after this year's coverage?
Do you want to keep it just this current contract?
Yeah. Just keep it this.
Well, I think this year's been the worst year for Fox. Well, yeah, no, I'll say I think this year's the worst year for Fox. Gordon's still not good in the booth. Clint Boyer was getting his feet under him, so he was iffy here and there.
Yeah.
And I just felt like overall the coverage was uninspired.
I think Fox overall, from about 2019 through the present, has just been just hot garbage. I mean, you look even back to 2019, Darian, we were at Danny's wedding and we're like, hey, let's watch the end of the truck race. It's like, we couldn't. And it's just not improved really much since then. There's been so much bad stuff. Fox's best years under this contract, I think, were the first two. I think that's when they still had their swag, their mojo that they usually had. As for NBC, their worst year, I think their worst year, and I will still hold to it, I think their worst year was like 2016, 17.
Yeah.
I think that first year was good, but they just kind of lost something. I would say NBC's best year, in my opinion, would probably be 2018. Junior just had breathed new life into that booth. I don't think they've been good. I don't think they've been as good as that year.
Yeah. Now the speed
I
days.
would agree with that.
Yeah. Now the the NASCAR on speed days. That's a whole nother discussion. Maybe for a future video. You never know.
I hadn't really thought about NBC or any of these in like on a year-to-year basis, but I do remember Junior's first year caught lightning in a bottle, so that was good.
Absolutely. Corvette Racing 48, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. NASCAR Radioactive would be far better if you replace the bleeps with dolphin noises. That's a good thing. That's
Like a
good food for thought.
SpongeBob episode.
Right. That's funny. Groovy Goose with the $5 super chat for host and chat. The Cup season the Cup season has 3 weeks left. What grade would you give the season? Spin the UFO. I mean, Fox was hyping this up as the greatest season ever. I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Honestly, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I give it like a B plus. I think on the show, coming off the back of a tumultuous year last year for every sports league, NASCAR did a good job of handling it. But coming off that to this year, a lot of new winners, pretty competitive racing. I think it's been good.
Yeah,
It's funny that's brought up. I rate every race and I keep all the ratings and average them together at the end of the year.
Nice.
So my current rating is a 6.971 out of 10.
Nice.
Hey, nice.
Which is actually better than every year we've done the podcast so far. So I think it's the best year since we've started the show. It's been good. There's been some lowlights, but mostly highlights.
That's cool. That's good to hear.
And 1 minute left.
Yeah, thank you. Daniel with the $2 super chat. Harvick has Chase Elliott derangement syndrome. Yeah, not gonna lie. Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, just chase derangement syndrome. He has CDS.
CDS. Yes, you guys. Yeah, definitely. Phil Brownson with the $2 super chat. Thanks, man. Can we get your expectations for Trackhouse in 2021? I think you mean for 2022. So I'll just answer that. I mean, next year they're going to be having Gibbs cars and all that. Or no, not Gibbs cars. Excuse me. They're going to be. It's basically going to be Chip Ganassi Racing 2.0. They basically bought the whole team. So I'd say at least one of their cars makes the playoffs next year.
Yeah, I love Daniel Suarez, but I might lean towards Ross Chastain being that guy just because he's come on strong the second half of this year.
I was just about to mention
but we'll see.
I think borderline playoff. By the way, 5 seconds, but I think borderline playoff will be right around how they're going to be next year.
All right.
And we're at 5.
Yep, and that'll conclude this edition of the Super Chat Reads. We will get to them towards the end of the show. Really appreciate all of the love and support. And now, well, I think it's about that time in the show where, should we play the John Hunter Nemechek interview, boys?
I thought we were gonna do another lightning round bit. Do you feel that? That's John Hunter Nemechek.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that? And I have the lightning going on right now. And it's John Hunter Nemechek. But yeah. But no, thank you so much to John Hunter Nemechek for coming on. We talked to him about some various things about his season thus far. I mean, he's the most recent NASCAR Xfinity Series winner. So we also talked about that and about his plans for 2022 and beyond.
I just remember one question we didn't ask him that we should have. What is he going to do? Where is he going to put that ice cream cone trophy that he just got? Because I want to know. That was pretty cool.
Dang. We didn't ask that, but I'm quite sure. I'm very confident we asked a ton of good questions. So without further ado, I'm going to mute you guys. And I'm going to make sure I muted myself. So yeah, I'll make sure I muted myself too. So without further ado, here's our interview with John Hunter Nemechek. Enjoy! What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Darian Gilliam, a.k.a. Black Flags Matter, back for another edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And this week, we are joined by the one and only John Hunter Nemechek. How's it going, man?
It's good. How are you guys?
Oh, good. And even
fantastic.
Spectacular to have you on this edition of the show. I guess I'll open up the line of questions here. Talk about your 2021 season thus far. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's been a good year so far. 5 wins in the Truck Series in the regular season, locked up the regular season championship. It's been a little bit of an up and down playoff run so far, but we're sitting in a good point spot going into Martinsville. And it doesn't matter if we win Martinsville or not. We just want to be able to advance. So have to survive and advance to that Final Four. The only thing that matters at this point is going in to try and win that championship at Phoenix. And then on top of that, being able to get the first Xfinity win of the year in limited starts last weekend was another huge accomplishment for me. And coming back from the Cup Series to the Truck Series, my goal was to come win races and have the opportunity to do so every single week. And been using the hashtag here for wins. And it's been very validating by living up to that.
It's a catchy slogan for sure. And you just mentioned it. You were blistering fast at Texas in the Xfinity car this past Saturday, but you've obviously won a lot of truck races this year. That's where your focus is at the moment. But what made Saturday's Xfinity win special?
I think for me, it was getting back behind the wheel of an Xfinity car. I had run 3 races prior to that this year. And then being able to get in the 54 that has proven that it can win. Ty Gibbs and Kyle have both won in it multiple races this year. So for myself, being able to get behind the wheel of something that has proven that it is capable of winning, and myself going out there and being able to win, not only win, pretty much dominate the day, it is very validating for myself as well.
So I want to ask, you've raced in the top 3 series all in the last 12 months. I want to ask, how do they kind of compare to each other? Like one compared to the other? Is it kind of like apples to oranges, or like, just completely different altogether?
They're all unique in their own way, for sure. I think the Cup Series is definitely very difficult, very hard. There's a reason that those top 25 or top 30 guys are the ones that are in the Cup Series every single week. And there's a reason that those 10 to 15 guys win races every single year. They're some of the best in the business. The Xfinity Series is difficult as well. Cars are definitely different to drive. Low downforce package, higher horsepower. compared to the Cup car at 1.5 miles. They're low, or they're high downforce, low horsepower. So the Xfinity car drives like the low downforce package on the Cup car at short tracks. And then the Truck Series, it's unique in itself. You have kids that are 16 years old making starts at short tracks every year, and then you have kids that are trying to make a name for themselves, and then you have veterans that are in the Truck Series as well. So it's unique in its own way. Definitely have had to learn a little bit of how to race different around certain guys this year in the Truck Series compared to the Cup Series. But the trucks drive more like the Cup car at 1.5 mile racetracks with the higher downforce, lower horsepower.
Now, you first year endeared yourself to the fan base by winning races in the NASCAR Truck Series with your dad's team back in the day. So, talk about those days. What was that era of your career like?
It was unique in itself. I always felt like we were the underdog, kind of going into races. We were in on a limited budget. I was one of the guys in the shop that was there working every single day, putting trucks together, trying to figure out what we were going to do setup wise, running the pull down rig. Just so many factors that I was hands on in. And that was unique in itself. I learned a lot from that experience. It's taught me a lot. It's made me a better race car driver and a better person.
Well, from the past to the future, last week you announced that you're returning to the Ford truck next year. You're going to chase another Truck Series championship. Take us through that decision. What was the decision? Why did you decide that was the best option for 2022?
Yeah. Talking to Kyle about it and everyone at Toyota TRD, I felt like that was the best opportunity for myself. Since leaving Nemco, I've not been at a single team for more than a year. I've kind of jumped around, and I don't want to be known as that guy that hops around all the time. So for myself, I thought it was the best opportunity to go out and try and chase another Truck Series championship and chase more wins. And luckily Kyle wanted to have me back, and everyone at Toyota thought it was a good idea. So that's kind of how those cards played. There were, I guess, other opportunities on the table that I've talked about and tried to figure out if it was a better opportunity for myself, but the cards just didn't fall right. And for myself, I'm excited to go back to KBM. I'm excited for a second year, and hopefully we can dominate even more than we have this year.
Well, you were talking about chasing another truck title. You're chasing one this year. I got to ask, you seem to be the favorite in pretty much everybody's eyes right now. Who do you think is the biggest competition for you to win that championship this year?
It depends on who makes it. There's a tight cutoff line. I think Sheldon Creed, obviously you can't count him out. He's been very fast all year. He's put some races together here in the playoffs, and he's had a great playoff run. So I don't think that you can count him out. Ben Rhodes is another one that won races early, kind of had a little bit of a summer slump, I guess, and has been running better as of late. So yeah, I would put those two guys in the category, and then I would put myself as well, or ourselves as the 4 team. We can't beat ourselves. I feel like we have a really good truck. I feel like we have a really good opportunity around us and a really good group around me that has given me everything that I need and the resources that I need to be able to succeed. So for us, we just can't beat ourselves and make mistakes either.
Now, what is the end goal for you? Do you eventually want to be back in the Cup Series someday, or have you just resigned yourself to the fact that I just want to remain in NASCAR in any sort of capacity?
Eventually the goal is to get back to the Cup Series. I feel like myself, my ability and talent, I feel like that plus work ethic and everything that goes into it on the back end, I feel like I can be successful in the Cup Series. But I'm not going to put myself in a spot just to be in the Cup Series. I want to be able to win races and have the chance to win championships as well. Just being in the Cup Series doesn't do it for me. I want to be a contender every single week.
Yeah, that was actually kind of my question. So I don't know, you can elaborate more on this if you want, but like, say you got an opportunity in the Cup Series a couple of years down the line and sort of, I don't know, next gen car may change everything, but what's considered to be like a B tier ride, but you have like a chance to work with KBM or maybe JGR, even in Xfinity. Like, how would you balance those two? It sounds like you're more focused on going where you can be competitive, but like, how would you balance that decision? If you know, I know we're speaking hypothetically years potentially down the line, but how would you balance that move?
I mean, it would have to be something that I think on and weigh out the pros and cons for sure. But I'm hashtag here for wins.
Well, I want to ask, 2021, both on and off the track, has been an absolutely huge year for you. How has it kind of changed your perspective on both how you go about your career, life in general? Like, how has this year really affected you long term?
It's definitely changed my life for sure. Making the decision coming back to the truck series on the professional side of things, there were a lot of doubters, a lot of people that were thinking that I was going to ruin my career by doing it, not sure why I was doing it. And I had in my mind that I wanted to win races. I wasn't happy. There were parts and times where I was miserable, down on myself, questioning if I could do it anymore. So being able to get back to victory lane and validate my decision and continue to have a stellar year definitely push things forward for me and kind of put that in a different perspective. If I was 16, 18 years old and you're asking me this question right now, I would be wanting to get to Cup. I would be pushing for everything that I could to get to Cup, because that's every kid's dream when you're that old and you're racing. So for me, the perspective has changed. And then having Aspen this year has definitely changed my perspective on life a lot. There's times where I used to dwell on races, or I'd have a bad race and I couldn't let it go. Now it's being able to come home or go back to the motorhome and see her smile. She doesn't know what's happening. She's just happy to see you, that you're back. So it puts a smile on your face and makes you kind of forget what has happened until you have to talk about it again. But it's calmed me down a lot. I feel like it's put some different pressures on me from different standpoints, but overall in a very good way.
All right, that's good to hear. Well, I guess it's time to open it up to some fan questions. Jared, do you have them ready, or?
Yeah, I got a few good ones, kind of off topic, some on topic, but I think you'll have fun with them. Yeah. So the first one is from Blake. He asks, aside from your dad, who was your favorite driver growing up?
I don't think I had one single favorite driver growing up. I've always kind of looked at it in the perspective of Jimmy Johnson was great at winning championships. Kyle Busch is great at winning races. Dale Sr. was great at intimidating people and playing mind games and being able to get things done. So I think if you can take a mixture of everything that those guys were great at and mix it into one, it's an amazing driver. It's probably the best of all time. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I always had fun being able to grow up around the sport with dad and hanging out with everybody in the driver owner lot, backstage before driver intro. It's just a lot of different things. So I can't say that I had one single favorite.
Rusty asks, what, in your opinion, is the best moment in your career?
Best moment in my career? Winning. I think that anytime you can win, it's a really good moment in your career. And not taking it for granted, right? There's times where we've won races and I've kind of shifted my focus right afterwards to the next week. And yes, you have to do that, but also you need to enjoy it. These things are way too hard to win. And when you don't win for 2 years, it takes a toll on you. You want to get back to victory lane, and that's something that is a huge accomplishment.
And then our last fan question, last but not least for sure, is from a user, Denny Delivers. And he asks, what was your mindset when a wild Cole Custer came towards you at Canadian Tire?
That's a good one. So I ran ear cups in my helmets with earbuds. So I couldn't really hear anything just from how noise canceling it is. And I went up to grab the checkered flag, still had my helmet on. And all of a sudden I heard the screams, like the fans start screaming. So I turned around and here came Cole. So I kind of squatted down a little bit and got in a lowered stance. And we went and rolled around on the ground, I guess. And that was about the end of it. So there wasn't much time to think. It was all reaction.
I think that's a great way.
Do you and Cole ever like talk about that incident? Have y'all talked about it ever since then?
I can't say that we've talked about that that incident, but yeah, I would say Cole and I are somewhat buddies. We talk about other things other than that at the racetrack, especially last year in the Cup deal. We were talking quite a bit. I don't know. As time moves on, you kind of move on from it, and we're all young and dumb at one point.
Time heals all wounds. That's funny.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on this edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, Mr. John Hunter. Before you head off, where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on all social platforms at JH Nemechek. Check it out. We have some cool content going on right now, and some behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people don't get to see.
Oh yeah, by the way, I really liked you being a part of that whole Toyota truck commercial when they were unveiling the 2022 one. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I loved that.
That was a very fun experience.
It looked a lot of fun. Well, thank you so much for thank you so much for coming on, Mr. Nemechek. And now, back to the show. And we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview with the one and only John Hunter Nemechek. Now, Eric, you got some news for us, or
got some breaking news, at least from the past like 30 minutes or so. Yeah, as we were going live tonight, there was some news going around, reports going around, but it's been confirmed by Bob Pockrass that NASCAR has indefinitely suspended Carson Ware, not Cody Ware, Carson Ware. Carson Ware was arrested earlier this morning on misdemeanor charges of assault on a female, simple assault, and injury to personal property. So he will not race this weekend at Kansas. He was supposed to be, I believe, in the Xfinity race for SS Greenlight Racing. He will not be there. So that is some news.
Carson Ware, that sounds familiar. That sounds like the guy who DM'd me in 2019 saying I wouldn't have a place in the sport and I should just give up. He actually did that, by the way, folks. I remember I would always make so many jokes about Rick Ware Racing, and he had the goal to DM me on a, I think this was a Wednesday afternoon, so it was like the day of one of our podcasts, and he basically went on this like rant that was like 2-3 paragraphs long. I'm not about to read all that stuff, but basically I skimmed over it, and he was basically saying I didn't know what I was talking about. Stop joking about my team. My father worked hard, blah, blah, blah. You'll never be in the sport. Like, first off, you're a professional athlete, and you're a professional racing team, so I'm sorry. You have to take whatever criticism you get. And I wasn't even criticizing. I was just joking about it. Like, everybody knows their story and stuff. But, yeah, so apparently he can't keep his hands off of women either. So it's not the best judge. Not the best judge to be judging people who are in the sport or not. And then also, let me say this too. When you have a face tattoo and braces, maybe racing isn't necessarily your calling. Maybe you being a little peep wannabe might be. I don't know, but look, yeah. So that's Carson Ware in a nutshell. And yeah, let this be a lesson, folks. Keep your hands off of women, and if you're gonna get a face tattoo, at least have it be something good, I guess. You know. So, and also, grown man with braces too. It's not the best look, I don't think. So, I don't know.
Got Darian, and also. Okay, well,
I was just thinking of multiple.
I was just gonna leave it at I was unaware of the deep lore and history between the two, at least to how the extent that it progressed. But yes, I mean, kudos, I guess, to NASCAR for taking this issue seriously. But we'll see how that develops. I was just gonna leave it at that. Jesus.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, it's like, look, when you say something, look, karma's a real thing, man. When you're calling out people's dreams and stuff, saying, "Oh, you'll never do this and that," I mean, that type of stuff sticks with you there. And then when it's somebody in the sport, nobody near is like high levels, like a Steve or something like that. But when somebody says that, you remember that stuff. And I don't know. It looks like justice has been served, unfortunately.
He got arrested for assault, but we just witnessed a damn murder.
Yeah, that was.
Sorry, folks. I just had to let that out. Unfortunately, I just had to let that out. But no, let's move on.
Anyway,
let's move on now. So we already got that garbage crossed out. Now, let's move on to some other news that has been making headlines, especially on NASCAR Twitter. NASCAR 21 Ignition is supposed to be the newest release in the NASCAR console gaming series, out next week on October 26th, as a matter of fact, or could be the 27th. I could have those dates mixed up. Basically, it's out next week. We've seen some early gameplay footage from the likes of, Michael Roots and some other content creators in the community, the Wind Vows, the Moonheads, all those guys. And I've said my piece on the game before. Oh, and also Eric. I'm sorry, Eric. I almost forgot Eric. You played it too.
Oh, yeah.
So, Eric, you actually played the game. Give us your honest opinion. No BS here. Give us your opinion on NASCAR 21 Ignition.
Well, let me start with this. I think it's very important that NASCAR have a fun, a competently put together, a well-developed console game. iRacing's a big thing, NRT, that's all great. That's fantastic. But NASCAR, it's in NASCAR's best interest when it comes to reaching out to new and especially younger fans that they have an easy to pick up and play, fun console game. So that's where I kind of come at this from. I think you all see many of the bugs and glitches. I will say last night when I was streaming it for a couple hours, I didn't run into very many bugs and glitches. I had earlier in the day and the day before, I guess, but maybe before I got the day one patch. Mm-hmm. And I know even since the day one patch, there are still some bugs and glitches, but some of them I can look past, some of them not so much. There are core elements of the gameplay that I think are very fun. I think the game looks gorgeous and feels pretty good, at least when you turn all of the assists and settings to a minimum. I know that is one critique, is that there's no real like super hyper realistic game setting. It seems it feels like no matter what, you're going to have a little bit of that arcade feel to it. And I think that is, I wish there was more of an option to turn all those settings or to more customize your actual driving settings than there is currently. So the game looks great. The presentation is fantastic. Clearly an upgrade in those respects from the NASCAR Heat Series. But once you get past that facade, I think it's safe to say there's not a whole lot there. I think it's not, in some ways, the quality I think is absolutely higher than the Heat Series, but the quantity is definitely less. There's no Xfinity, there's no trucks, which isn't that big a deal to me. When I play Heat, I'd usually go to the Cup Series anyway, so I don't think that's the biggest deal, but it is something that's lacking. So the game has its bugs and glitches. I think many of them will be sorted out, some won't. There are certain features lacking, like I don't know what they're doing with private lobbies. It sounds like there's not private lobbies currently. There might maybe be at some point. I like that there's sort of a quick play online multiplayer option. I think that's awesome that exists, but there should also be the private lobby option for those who run leagues or those who just want to play with a select group of friends. That should absolutely be an option. I don't understand why that's not. So if you ask me, I think this game was a little rushed because I believe in their contract, they have to put a game out every single year. And they want to get this one out, a week before the season ends and everything, before the holiday season. So I think this entry was probably a little rushed, given that they're working with an all new engine, building basically a brand new game from the ground up. But there's fun to be had with it. I had fun with it last night. I've had fun moments when it hasn't crashed on me, when I haven't encountered a massive bug or glitch. I've had fun with it. Going back to my first criteria, I want a fun console game that you can pick up and play pretty easily, that doesn't have a super steep learning curve, that any casual or hardcore fan can find enjoyment with. And I think that can be had with this game. And I've had some of it with the game, but there are some issues that shouldn't be overlooked that many people have obviously encountered. I don't think it's a $60 game. I think it should have probably been it's a $40 game that they're charging $60 for. They got away with it for NASCAR Heat Evolution, I guess. Like I told you guys before we went live, you're paying for the license more than anything. It's just the NASCAR name, all the drivers' names. That's what you're paying for. It's kind of just the way it is. That's how the business has always been. But it has potential, but it needs to be polished.
So you had the game, Darian and I didn't. And so I gauged everything that I made of this game, my video today, what I thought of it, the initial release, all off of everybody's streams. And it seems like everything's running better for people now, for the most part. There's still bugs, and I think we know that for sure. The bugs for the first night, I have no idea why they just let people stream it. Like,
I have no clue. That was horrible.
Like,
I intentionally waited a day because I figured there'd be a lot of bugs and glitches, and sure enough, there were. I'm surprised they didn't stop people.
I didn't think. I mean, it's one thing to have bugs in your game, but it's another when Roots' game crashes 6 times in one stream.
I'll get to that. My thing is that the bugs that we saw the initial night, that was unacceptable to be shown to the public, and I completely question their marketing strategy with that. Like, I believe that was one of the biggest errors they had, because I think it was on purpose. They didn't show too much. Maybe it was because of bugs, but at the same time, it is a smart marketing strategy not to show too much, get people waiting, get people wanting to show it. I mean, literally until they showed a trailer for months, it was like, we need to see something now. But a lot of the bugs, if they are fixed, won't be a hill to die on. I know like Heat 5, for instance, like the walls didn't even have stuff right, and then they fixed that within a week. But it is bad in that sense. Like right now, I don't think in the condition it's in, I don't think it's a good game yet. I think it has the potential to be a good game. I think that things like a track map or at least a rear view mirror should be added in soon.
Mhm.
Like stuff like that's essential for racing games. Like we've had this for 20 years now. Like, come on. I saw a lot of different glitches. I had 4 major things though. I saw Blue Jimmy kind of comment on this, so maybe it's 3 major things. My thing was no stages with modern NASCAR. If you're making a NASCAR game, it needs to be relevant to modern NASCAR.
Oh, I didn't even notice. So I didn't do any long races. They don't have stages as an option.
Nope.
So that's a lot of people are saying they don't have stages.
That has to be something that can be easily patched in. I don't see why they wouldn't be. Come on.
Stages need to be added in. The game crashing needs to be stopped. It looked like from what Roots' stuff was
getting better.
Like,
it seems to have been
better.
improved dramatically. Yeah.
It seemed to be an Xbox thing, if I'm not mistaken. Though
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Day one, I'm on PC. It crashed a lot, but yesterday it didn't crash as much. So yeah, I don't know.
So at least 2 things, and these are the main 2 things that I think need to be changed that can make this go from a game that I personally wouldn't buy to one that I will have interest in. I will definitely consider buying. And my things were the AI needs to be improved. I think that a lot of it's on a track, especially when they're in a pack. Like they check up a lot. And I was watching Radman's Coda video on this, and it showed both the worst and the best of the AI. The worst is the fact that you can start last at Coda, hit the brakes all the way up the hill, and still end up 21st at the top of the hill.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty bad. Yeah. The best being that he was racing side by side for like a solid lap and a half with both Truex and then Alex Bowman. And they were like outbraking. The AI would outbrake you into the corner, overshoot it a little, or you'd outbrake the AI. They were actually racing. And it was a lot of one-on-one. It was really good. If they can get that and replicate that in the pack more, I think that you have an A+ single player mode right there. And the big one is that at the moment, no private lobbies, and the system they have right now is just I mean, we're gonna lose has to be thinking ka-ching.
He's loving it. I guarantee you. He's loving it.
I saw Blue Jimmy say that they confirmed private lobbies. I didn't see that yet, but if they did, then good. Mm-hmm. But I mean, those 4 things, in my opinion, if they change those, I will be a willing customer. But until then, I agree with you, Eric. I think this is a $30 or $40 game with the license of a $60 game.
I mean, we all just talk about potential and this and that or whatever. Look, as somebody who's played all the Heat games, from the atrocious Heat Evolution all the way to Heat 5, I've been told the same stuff over and over again for the past 5 to 6 years. Just give it time, give it potential. The lead-up game is the next game, I guarantee you. And for a game that's supposedly been worked on for 2 years, I mean, just seeing like all the content creators who got it early just having problems and stuff like that, I'm just like, this is what the community gets. And there's positives about the game, okay? Like it looks
it's a beautiful
nice.
game.
It looks nice.
It's a beautiful game.
It looks really nice, okay? It has a lot of eye candy, okay? Obviously, when you guys saw me play for a brief moment during the before the Daytona races during Daytona weekend, I was very happy about the presentation. It brought back the NASCAR Thunder 2003 vibes. But objectively speaking, when I was playing the game and stuff, I did not want to comment any further outside of the presentation stuff because driving assists were on, and plus we were at Daytona. Now, I credit IDK for immediately beta testing there because he was like pointing out some of the flaws with it and stuff like that, and he was seeing some of the flaws with the AI that are now present in some of these early editions here. So, in my opinion, the game looks really polished, okay? That's without question. The problem is, though, what are they trying to be here? Are they trying to be an arcadey style game or a simulator for on the consoles? I think honestly I think they're going for the whole Simcade vibes, but it's just there's not enough content in there to me, just for me personally, to warrant spending $60 on there when you can just go on iRacing and get a $90 subscription or download freaking NR 2003 for free, by the way, and also add multiple mods, no questions asked, no money attached, none of that stuff. So, I mean, just as somebody who has gotten more and more into PC gaming over the past year, I mean, now I see what some of the people were talking about. I would always complain about, this Heat game, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. And then people are like, oh, just go to NR 2003, just go to iRacing. And I would always be like, no, they'll get better. Now I see what they're talking about. This is, I mean, if you ask some fans will tell you, damn, the last good NASCAR games we had was in the EA Sports era, or the last good NASCAR games we had was in the Technics era. I don't think anybody's saying, oh yeah, the Heat series was awesome here. And that's the series we're coming off of here. So all this talk of potential, I'm sorry, I'm fed up with it. I'm done.
I think, and I brought this up today, that the big problem isn't even a NASCAR issue, a motorsport game issue, 704, even though a lot of those compound onto each other. It's a gaming industry in general. We've normalized games coming out that are unfinished. I mean, I use the example today of Last of Us Part 2, like it just glitches all the time. But it's other games too. I mean, like EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 was an absolute complete crap show when it came out. One of the worst games on the current generation of gaming systems. And by the end of it, it was amazing. Like people loved it. I remember like Cody H Gaming, he'd convinced me to get it, and I played it with my brother, and I'm like, holy crap, what have I been missing? But the thing is that I think I'm an example because I thought about getting it, saw how awful it was, and didn't pick it up. It took me almost, I think, 2 years, maybe a year and a half to pick that game up. And I think that's where my big problem is that when you have to force this out year after year because of, in my opinion, an ill thought out contract, you're putting talented game developers in a horrible box who then have to put out an unfinished game and spend a bunch of time updating that unfinished game year after year and take that energy more than likely away from whatever NASCAR 22 will be. And it's a snowball effect. So I feel like if they can renegotiate, I am cool getting one NASCAR game every 3 years. Work on, even if it's not completely finished, it's more than likely going to be a lot better. We're going to get a lot more features, but something needs to change completely structurally with this for us to break out of, at least at the launch of these games, basically being a half-finished, possibly good game in the future, but mess at the start.
And
it's a few updates away from being good. I completely agree with everything you said there, Jared. I remember a game, it was a racing game. I think it came out in around 2014, like in the launch window of the PlayStation 4. It was called Drive Club. And me and a couple of my friends were really excited about it because the whole focus on this racing game was like kind of a team-based online multiplayer. Like you form a club and you like earn points, almost like a cooperative Need for Speed style racing game. And we were like super excited about that. Game came out, and for the first like couple months, like the online was broken. Like the developers were scrambling because you legitimately could not race online for months. And so all the steam blew out of this game because that was the whole point of the game. And ever since then, that was kind of, I was younger. I was like 16 years old, but that was like my first real world, like experience with, the gaming industry has a problem here. They release a lot of unfinished products. People in the chat are mentioning Cyberpunk this year was a good example. They pulled it off the PlayStation Store because I think on PS4 it was having so many glitches, so many bugs, it was unplayable at times. So, and that was a huge budget. That's a massive project. So I agree with everything you said there, Jared. I wish there's a way to alter that contract because like a big company like EA Sports, say what you will about them, they have perhaps the resources to pump out a new Madden every year, albeit with very subtle changes. They can do it. A smaller company, I know Motorsports Games is not the exact same as 704, but I have to believe it's a fairly small developer.
It is.
I feel like they're spread very thin trying to pump out a new NASCAR game, especially from last year to this year. Like they released Heat 5 in 2020, I believe. I think fairly early 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Like by June, I think it was like summer 2020.
Middle of summer.
And you're telling me a whole new game built from the ground up? They tried to do that in like less than 2 years. That's hard to do. That is difficult to do, especially for a small company. So again, I think the game, there's fun to be had with it day one, but there's not as much content there as there was with the Heat series. And I think a lot of fans will be a little disappointed about that.
And I want to bring something up. I see a lot of people like, what about Codemasters? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Codemasters like
bought out by EA?
They're bought out by EA. So like careful what you wish for there, because let's be real, EA is not what it was 20 years ago.
Well, I'm just pointing out that a big company has the ability, like MLB The Show. I used to love MLB The Show. They might still be really good. I haven't played them in a while, but that was a bigger company. I think that was like Santa Monica Studio or something putting that game out every year. So bigger company with full support from Sony or from whoever it was, they could put out a new sports game every year and add some features and keep the quality high. The point is, a smaller company is going to inherently have a harder time doing that.
Yeah, and also, go ahead.
At this point now, it just feels like, I think at this point, motorsport games is what you got. It looks like they're really, in a lot of ways, aside from F1, they're really kind of monopolizing the American motorsports gaming industry. They got IndyCar coming out. They had SRX. So at this point, you just got to, all the eggs are in the basket. It's just more, you got to give the feedback, I think, at this point. And I think you got to be loud and vocal with it, respectful, of course, because I saw that Motorsport Game put out a tweet, like basically acknowledging everything that went on, and Rusty tweeted it too. And that's something we didn't see before. Like with the Heat games and the Last Manager, you ended up getting blocked if you had any legitimate concern.
Yeah.
So it sucks because I think it feels like we're stuck in the same kind of hamster wheel going over and over and over in the same place. But there is progress, like in that sense that there's actually acknowledgement of the base's concern. So that's something that I got to say I'm happy to have heard that and seen that today.
Yeah, I'm happy to have heard and seen that too. I guess, if it's good, then yes, I'll obviously give it its props and stuff. But I mean,
I'm gonna wait to get it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Wait to get it. Save your money. Don't get the pre-order. And I said that from day one. Just wait until gameplay comes out and all that stuff, and then make an informed decision. But I guess to close off this topic here, it's I totally get not everybody can afford iRacing or has the capable PC to run like iRacing or NR 2003. I totally get that. If you have the option though, I mean, and this is just my anecdotal evidence. I have seen a lot of people, especially last year, they have migrated all the way from console gaming to iRacing and stuff. I mean, just take a look at IDK Player. He was through and through a NASCAR Heat content creator, and then he just couldn't take it anymore. And now he's on iRacing, and now look at him. NR Night in America is one of the most viewed iRacing streams on a daily. So, in conclusion, if the game is good, I'll give it its praise. But if you're gonna straight up ask me, with a straight face, hey, do you think this is worth $60? Right now, no. I'm not gonna bamboozle my audience into thinking it's worth $60 because it's currently not at the moment. So
jettison, bamboozle. You're using some big words tonight, Darian. I'm impressed.
Hey, let's go. See, I told you that the source is working. And also I watch a lot of TV and stuff, and sometimes they sometimes say those words. So I pick up sometimes. But yeah, NASCAR Ignition 21 out next week. If you get it, great. Let me know how it is, and if it improves, we'll see.
I'm excited to play. I'm excited to try online, whatever online may end up looking like. I'm excited to play online with people and see how that goes.
So we'll see what happens with that. But anyways, now we are on the Kansas preview. We have both Cup and Xfinity racing this weekend. The Cup Series is going to be 267 total laps, 80 laps for both stages 1 and 2, and 107 for the final stage. Start time is on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The channels are NBC Sports Network and MRN. The weather is it's looking it's all right, I guess. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But 77 degrees, so it's not too cold. So, but unfortunately, potential strong afternoon thunderstorms with a 60% chance of rain. So, could have a rain-shortened race here in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Now, Saturday's race for the Xfinity Series, the Kansas Lottery 300, 200 laps, 45 laps for both stages 1 and 2. And 110 for the final stage. The start time is on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the main NBC and MRN radio network. The weather for that race on a Saturday looking, similar to Sunday's edition. 70 degrees, clouds, cloudy with sun and some showers. Also a 55% chance of rain. So, yeah.
An interesting fact about the Cup race, Kyle Larson is starting from the pole, and he's 54 laps away, 54 laps led away from breaking the modern era laps led record in a season.
Wow. That is nuts. I mean, hey, just put Larson in a Hendrick car and see what happens, and
And
we have our
I
answer.
think Arca also races this weekend. And I think if Ty Gibbs just completes the first lap, I believe he will clinch the Arca championship.
All right, well, congrats to him.
Shocker, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Stunning.
Shocker. Yeah, shocker, right? Now, let's pull out my betting odds for a moment. The 2021 Hollywood Casino 400. These are the betting odds. Kyle Larson is the odds-on favorite, and he is the extreme odds-on favorite. Let me put it that way. Plus 240 entering this weekend. That's the best out of anybody by far. The second closest is Denny Hamlin, but he's plus 550. So they really think Larson is just going to run away with this race. And then Kyle Busch comes in P3 at plus 600. Chase Elliott, P4 plus 800. And finally, a non-playoff driver, good old Willie B, William Byron, entering this weekend in the top 5 at plus 900. Now, if we're going to look at a couple of dark horses here, obviously I have to go with my boy Tyler Reddick, entering this weekend at plus 2,200 odds. And if we're going to go a little bit deeper, hey, Matt DiBenedetto had a solid run here in the spring, so I'll give him a shout out. He is plus 6,000.
What about Chris Buescher?
All right, let's see. Chris Buescher, where are you at? Chris? He's somewhere in here. He's not all the way down here. Let's see. Scrolling. Oh, there he is. Chris Buescher. He enters this weekend actually with way worse odds than all those guys I just mentioned. 13,000.
I'll take that.
Yeah, 13,000. So
Give me 50 cents on Buescher.
if you want a long shot that'll definitely pay off, yeah, Chris Buescher, I feel like that's your man this weekend for sure. Now, really quick, let's go over the podcast point standings. Of course, Jarrett is in the lead with 581 total points. Eric Estep, he was making it a really close championship battle for most of the season, but unfortunately sits P2 minus 55. The chat, you are solid. Well, not necessarily solid, but you have a bit of a small cushion sitting in P3 on the final podium spot, minus 72. I am P4, minus 86. Damn you, chat, for the second week in a row. And then in P5 is the guest pick, 112. And finally, he's not here tonight, but Danny B is in the basement with minus 137 points. So let's see if he'll make up some ground this weekend. But okay.
By the way, in the chat,
I do have his picks. He sent our picks over. So
Okay, good.
and we already got John Hunter's picks.
Yeah, we already got everybody's picks. Okay, so let's get right into it. Xfinity. Who is going to win the Xfinity Series race?
I'm already out of it pretty much. I'm just trying to hold off the chat so I keep my silver medal spot. I'm just gonna go with my boy. We talked about how great that 54 car is. Ty Gibbs. I think he wins. It's been a hot minute since Ty Gibbs won, but I think Kansas he'll get some early track time in the ARCA race. I think he wins.
I'll go next. Here, I'm gonna go with the wild card pick. We mentioned him earlier. He does have a track record of winning here. Brandon Jones locks his spot into the championship 4. Yes, going bold. At this point, I don't care. I'm going to go bold or go big or go home, right? So, Brandon Jones, this would be his 3rd straight win at Kansas, I believe, right?
No, it would be
his
3rd
second.
straight, but it'd be his 3rd win.
3rd win. Okay. So, yeah, Brandon Jones, that's my pick.
I'll go next. I'd asked before if Ty Gibbs is in the race. You said yes, so
Just pick somebody up. Come on, you're up by 55.
I literally
Allmendinger.
I literally have my picks already written down on here.
He's got
Oh, okay, in
He's
pencil, right?
No.
No, when Jarrett writes something down, it's a
Hold
done
on.
deal. Trust me.
I'm sending you some whiteout as we speak. It's unofficial. We're good.
Oh, no,
fine.
I
Do
got
your
Ty.
thing.
I got Ty. Well, maybe we'll have a different cup pick, but I got Ty.
All right. And then Danny B, what's his pick?
He went with Justin Allgaier.
Okay.
And the guest went with Gibbs.
Yes.
Ty.
Our guest was John Hunter, so yeah, he's obviously going to go with the Joe Gibbs affiliated guys, right? All right.
54.
All right, so chat,
see what we got.
who do you pick? I see, MV Rauner keeps spamming Daniel Hemrick.
I'm pretty sure he's still MVR owner.
Or MVR owner. Dang it. I keep saying Rauner for some reason. Sorry.
I love that we have Marty Robbins as a pick in the chat every week. That's
Dude,
freaking awesome.
Good times.
That's you. Yes, that is the same account that always leaves a Marty Robbins comment on all my videos every single time I upload. You're the man.
I see Dinger. I've been like AJ Allmendinger and Ty Gibbs. It looks like are the ones.
Yeah, I'm seeing Gregson, Ty.
BJ McLeod.
No, Denny delivers, not where. Relax. Let's relax. He's not winning in life, so he's definitely not going to win the race.
Oh, damn.
AJ is looking solid. Daniel Hemrick, too. I mean, Daniel Hemrick's a good option. I don't know. I can't tell, to be honest with you.
There's a couple for Brandon Jones. I definitely think it's between Gibbs and Dinger. It might be Allmendinger, actually. I feel like I'm seeing more Allmendingers, but
yeah.
But then I say that immediately.
Good old T-Pain. Oh, I saw 2 Allmendingers. Yep, I just saw them. Yep, just saw them.
I think it's between those two, but it depends. I pick Ty Gibbs. They're trying to catch me. Do they want to pick the same guy as me, or do they want to pick Allmendinger? Big chat.
Let them decide. Let them decide, bro. Because I have to catch him still. So it's looking like either Ty Gibbs.
No, they're not picking Brandon Jones, so you don't have to worry about
way.
that. Dude.
Yeah, no way. I can't tell, to be honest with you. I can't.
Yeah, now there's a couple people saying Hemrick, but
see, now I see a couple people saying AJ, and no, Blue Jimmy, I'm not racing, so can't pick me.
Okay, leave a 16 or a 54.
Yeah, 16 or 54, because those are the 2 we've seen the most. So
I just saw
your 2
5.
options.
I just saw 5, 6. I just saw like 6 straight Allmendingers from I think 5 different people. I think it's AJ.
All right, so we go with AJ.
Yeah,
I'm
think
gonna give
All
AJ.
right, you made your bed, chat. AJ Allmendinger. Yep, you think he's gonna win? Okay, so now moving on to the Cup Series edition of picks. Who's gonna suck this weekend? Eric, start us off.
Who's gonna suck? I typically like to pick playoff drivers, but we're into the round of 8, and I don't really think any of these guys are just gonna completely suck. So I don't know that I'm gonna go with a playoff driver. I'll go with maybe a former playoff driver. This is tough. Chip Ganassi Racing overall doesn't seem to have quite the same speed they had 6 weeks ago. Like they were still churning out good cars at the end of the regular season, at the very beginning of the playoffs for Kurt Busch, but now they're kind of, since like Chastain ran 3rd or whatever at Darlington, I feel like we haven't seen much from Ganassi. So I'll go with Kurt Busch. I think he struggles a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though he did win, I might eat those words because he did win at Atlanta in dominating fashion. So he's been good with this package. I'll stick with Noise.
I'll go with Daniel Suarez here. I mean, look, he had a solid run in the early parts of the season at Kansas too. But again, it's that inconsistency problems for me there. So I'll go with Daniel Suarez.
I'm going to go with Chase Briscoe on this one. I think that it's going to be 2 bad weeks in a row, and he wasn't very good at Kansas. In the spring, I don't see any reason why he'd be really good this time around.
Yeah. And who did
now
Danny
watch
pick?
I say that and he'll win.
Who did Danny pick?
Guess who he picked? He picked Alex Bowman.
Of course.
He picks him to suck every
and he
week.
hopes it's like
I would love to see a chart of how many weeks in a row in one of the 3 pick columns Danny has Bowman in.
Hey, we'll have to get that stat after the season. And the season's not over, so still got a long way to go.
We didn't get a guest. I guess it doesn't matter. We didn't get a guest pick.
Yeah.
Who did the chat pick?
The chat. Well, I see. Well, somebody picked Truex, but I don't know about all that.
The chat doesn't seem very. They don't seem very fired up about the
who's gonna suck pick. Well,
who's gonna suck.
There we go. Now it's starting to come in. Let's see. Somebody said both chases suck.
People are talking about the Atlanta Braves in the chat, so that's how you know they're not interested in who's going to suck. They're very positive chat. They want to talk about who's going to win.
Somebody said Blaney, and then I'm starting to see Kurt Busch. There's a 21 there.
There's actually a surprising amount of Elliott ones.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of Elliott's. Let's give it a little bit more. Oh, there's another Elliott one. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of Elliott. I just saw 4 in a row.
Wow. All right, so give him Elliott because I saw like 4 or 5.
All right,
ones,
give him
yeah.
Chase.
They can't pick Elliott now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys can't pick Chase Elliott to win. So, all right. So we'll see how that works out. All right. Dark horse picks. Eric, who do you have?
Tyler Reddick. I probably won't be the only one who picks that person who picks that guy.
I'll go Pete. I'll go second. I'll second that. Tyler Reddick, of course.
Well, I'm gonna go against the grain here. I said how he was doing all right in the last. Well, we talked about how he did well in the last race. Coming off of a top 10 at a mile and a half, I'm going Daniel Suarez.
I like
as
that.
my dark horse.
I don't think it'll happen, but I like it. Matt DiBenedetto was Danny's pick.
Okay.
And the chat.
The chat. Oh, I see Tyler Reddick. I mean,
Reddick.
is Willie Byron considered a dark horse? No, right?
Nah, not
Maybe if you think
he's.
he's actually going to win. Like if he finishes like 3rd, that's not thrilling. But if he wins, that's maybe a surprise.
Let's see. Blue Jimmy picks Priest. That's his underdog.
See Marty D.
And of
We'll
course,
see a Marty
of course,
D.
Marty Robbins. Of course, Marty Robbins.
Some Bushers, a couple for Busher.
1 for Bell.
2 for Chastain, and then a couple more for
I'm starting
Reddick.
to see a lot for Reddick now. I mean, there's like a
Yeah.
few, but
It's going. I think it's going straight up Reddick. I'm seeing I'm having to go and like.
yeah, I'm seeing
Make
a
sure
lot
they're
of 8s.
seen.
I'm seeing a lot of 8s. Yeah, it's Tyler Reddick.
I'll tell you what,
8.
I'm going with my dad this weekend to this race, and his favorite driver now is Reddick. I would love for Reddick to win with him there. That'd be
perfect.
awesome.
That would definitely be perfect for sure. Okay, so now we are at that part of the pick segment. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win at Kansas? Eric?
I hadn't thought this far ahead.
All that
I
build-up.
kind of threw in the towel this week because I can't catch Jarrett. I know I need to beat the chat. So who's I know the chat can't pick Chase Elliott. And I know they can't pick Reddick, but I guess neither can I. Kyle Larson.
Did you just sniff? You sniffed. Kyle Larson.
It smells like
It smells like second place to me. I'm kidding.
it smells like
It's that smell, that smelly smell.
It
that
smells.
smells.
It smells.
Smelly.
All right. Well, he's gonna go with Larson, and so will I. Kyle Larson. I'll go with him. He's gonna have 2 wins in a row, and this will be win number 9, I believe, right? Or 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to bring up a fact about Kyle Larson that Chase Elliott fans might not like. I'll bring up a fact too that Dale Jr. fans might not like. Kyle Larson has more career wins now than Chase Elliott, and
he's been in the league.
Kyle Larson wins one of the last 3 races, he will have matched the 10 years Dale Earnhardt Jr. was at Hendrick.
Dude, you're still the best, Jared. No, no, he ain't.
Just want to say, as I say, that Kyle Larson will do this Sunday. I'm picking Kyle Larson. I had that written down since last week. I'm like, I'm not going against him again.
As long as we're just pissing off popular driver fan bases. Remember, Jimmy Johnson missed the playoffs with Cliff Daniels in this car last year.
Okay, all right. So who did John?
Oh, and
pick?
pick.
go ahead.
But let's real quick. Let's piss off one more fan base. The guy that he will more than likely beat for the laps led record is Jeff Gordon.
He's pissing off not 1, not 2, but 3 fan bases there.
I
Oh my
believe
God.
the 9 was it 96 or 98? Let me check real quick.
And I think it's 1998. I think that's the record. I believe.
It's probably 98.
Yeah.
Ooh, so man, we pissed off Elliott, Gordon, Earnhardt, and Johnson. Wow, that is.
We got them all.
I'll never watch again. I'll never
Well,
watch
this
the
will- this will-
podcast again.
This will make some of them happy. Danny's pick to win is Chase Elliott.
Hey,
Ah,
there you go.
I was wrong. I
Where?
was wrong. It was 95.
Oh, that was his first
Ooh,
champion.
2000.
Oh, go ahead.
2,610 laps led. Let's look for Larson.
Ironically, that was the Jeff Gordon's first ever NASCAR championship, and Kyle Larson
Now-
potentially on that.
They did not run 36 races that year.
They ran 34, I believe.
This is
Yeah.
odd. What was the deal there? Because I literally saw NASCAR and Reddit and all of them promoting this, but I'm looking at the laps led for Larson this year and it does not add up.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
So, like how far are we? How far off are we talking here?
Like about 400, which is still definitely easy for him to get with.
So he's not
like,
gonna get it this
well-
weekend.
No, I don't know why they're all promoting that unless they're talking about the Chase era.
They said the modern era, right?
Maybe they're talking about 36 race schedules, which only makes
It
Jeff
might
Gordon's
be
feat.
that. It
Jeff
might be
Gordon's
that.
feat even more
It might-
impressive.
Yeah, it might be that maybe. But.
He might still beat it anyway. Let's be real.
Yeah.
We got 500 laps at Martinsville, 312 laps at Phoenix, and 267 laps. Like, are we really going to bet against Kyle Larson?
No,
leading-
one thing we've learned,
laps?
don't bet against Kyle Larson in 2021.
Okay, so it's the 36 race schedule, which definitely would be Larson. Then I don't know why they were saying modern era. That's
Yeah. Okay, so
I
the
don't-
30
Is Jeff Gordon still the leader though in the 36 race era, like 07 maybe?
let me see.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's 07.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. Let me pull
Well,
him
he's
up.
doing that. Chat. Make sure you drop your who's going to win.
Yeah,
pick.
drop your who's gonna win pick right now.
That
I
was
think
such-
Larson is probably who it looks like they're going with, but
that was such an odd way for them to phrase. Like they definitely were doing it for the oh, look at this. Hey, I didn't even realize I did that. 2,320 for Gordon in 2001. Which
That-
so,
they have 36 races in 01.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that
the
was
first
first.
year. First year.
That was
Yeah.
okay.
so then let's look up Kyle Larson then.
Oh dang! Well, we're seeing
Right here?
some mixed answers in the chat, by the way.
A lot of Hamlins.
Yeah.
And some Blaney's.
So yes, in that one, he has 2267, which means that he's 53 away from tying, 54 away from breaking that record, and he still very well can break Gordon in 95.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I wish they would have marketed that better because it just it sounds
Confusing.
good, but they marketed it well, but they definitely like went with the technicality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's between Hamlin and Larson, but it's leaning Larson.
Now,
There's a lot of Blaney's.
Really quick, John Hunter Nemechek picked.
KFB.
All right, he picks Kyle Busch, the boss man. Of course, he's going to pick the boss man to win.
KBM driver. There we go. Makes sense.
All right.
There's some,
I see a lot of Blaney's right now. That's what I'm seeing.
I see a lot of fives. And
Blaney's
I see
and
5-5-5, Lightning McQueen
Yeah.
5.
Oh, wait a
12,
minute.
12, 5.
Well, some of those 12s, it's the same guy who's spamming it. But yeah, I see a lot of
Then-
5s, 11s.
Wait. Hold on. Stop one more time. They picked the same. Wait, did they pick the same Xfinity car as me? No, they picked AJ.
No.
Okay, so if they want to pick the same Cup guy as me, go for it. Go for it.
Well, I have this. Don't pick the same guy as me. We have the same cup guy, Eric. I'm trying to
Yeah,
catch
you
him.
got a different Xfinity guy.
I'm talking about the chat. The chat's the one that is in.
That's
between
what I'm
both of
saying. I'm
us.
trying to catch him. I'm trying to catch him,
Well,
bro.
I think they're going with Larson.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's what it's looking like. I see a bunch of 5s.
So the top 4 in the points took Larson. It looks like.
Oh, my God. Another week behind. Okay. Well, if you want to be like
Hey,
that.
at least hold solace in the fact that you led the points after the clash, after the clash, Darian.
Hey, that was awesome. And at one point
After
oh, go ahead.
Daytona Road Course, right?
Yeah. And then at one point during the season, I was minus 1 point behind you at one point. Dang it. And then time just flies, man. So, oh well. But anyway.
It also probably helped that I got 4 weekend sweeps over the season.
Yeah, that definitely helps out a lot for sure. But, yep, that was the pick segment. So hopefully you guys enjoy the races that'll take place this weekend at Kansas. Now, before we head off, let me read the final super chats and shout out a couple of channel members. Let's get done with the super chats first. Give me a second. Let me scroll back. Okay. Jaron Wade with the $2 super chat. How are we feeling about Kansas race 1 to 10? I mean, Kansas it's pretty exciting. I'll give it a 6, a potential 6 maybe. So.
I mean, I'm going like if I was watching on TV 6, but I'm going so like 8, 9.
Gotcha.
Like it's gonna be a fun weekend for me, even if it does rain the whole time.
GN with the $5 super chat. We should not be running any race over 400 miles except for the Daytona 500, both Talladega races, Southern 500, and the Coca-Cola 600. I can somewhat agree with that, but I mean, there might be a few other races that are missing there, though. So, and we'll see. Kermit, the Jedi 18, DA, the Jedi 18. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Hey Darian, Muffin Man Roots has nothing on you. You goddamn right he doesn't. I beat him in iRacing, bro.
What am I missing?
I am up 1-0 on him in iRacing because in one of the NR Night in America races, we both raced at Nashville. I was P12, he was P13. I was on the controller, by the way, so he ain't got nothing on me right now. And I keep challenging him, but he doesn't want to face me, obviously. So he's got his reasons. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll make it happen in the future, though. Don't worry. Hot Piss, and I still can't get over that name. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Off topic, I want to see the AI in 21 Ignition career able to change teams, retire in the off season. It would make
think they're
it
doing
fun.
that.
I think they're doing that too. I think that's already been confirmed. So that's another positive. So that's cool. Beast of Metal sent 4 different super chats, accumulating to a total of $25. Thank you so much, man. The first one says, NASCAR 21 Ignition Development. Cycle, a dramatic interpretation in 3 parts. A production of the Flaming Casket Players. Dang. Dang, so he is not too far.
Beast of Metal he is very dramatic, yes.
Yeah. Heads Up Motorsports Games 2 development team. You have until October. We have an allotted I can't say this. How do you say this? ALLOTT. Allotted. Thank you. Allotted a budget matching a $40 price tag. The graphics are the only priority. Nothing else matters. Whoa, and we're not done here. We're not done yet.
He can rattle off bamboozled, but allotted is what gives you trouble.
I'm sorry, that's the paradox of me.
I
That's
love
the
it.
paradox of me. And then he's not done yet. Motorsports games to retailers and public. We have put the max possible effort into revolutionizing NASCAR games. And then his final super chat says, public to motorsports games, we're gonna send the Twitter cops after you. Smart marks, yeah, and the BB too. Hey, look, some of that I kind of didn't understand, but I mean, the basic jinx of it, I'm getting what he's saying. He's not entirely happy with the NASCAR game so far. So hey, we'll see if it improves. Thank you so much for the super chat. A couple more. Hot Piss with another super chat. $2. Thanks, man. It says NASCAR Weekly Podcast, Rick Ware Racing, but the thing's pointed to us. So yeah, that's what he said. So I guess we're better than Rick Ware Racing according to him. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Tyler Tinsley with the $5 super chat. Warian out for blood. First, it was Junior Motorsports Pro League driver Dohar 88, and now Carson Ware. Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting day. Let's just put it that way. And one of the final super chats, Jonathan Krause with the $5 super chat. NASCAR 21 Leaders Pitting Now edition. Seriously, watch David Schillhouse's stream. It's hilariously bad. A 9.5-hour glitch. Yeah, no, I saw it on Twitter. It was not the best look, but hey, we'll see if they improve. 2 more super chats. Caesar with the $5 super chat. If Kyle Larson wins on Sunday, hold on, give me a second. Let me load it up. If Kyle Larson wins on Sunday, coincidentally, it will be 17 years since Ricky Hendrick and the other HMS employees passed away. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, I remember that day too. I was in first grade at the time, and I remember the announcement coming on and stuff. Yeah, it was a very sad day for sure. And the final super chat from the one and only Blue Jimmy 48 fan. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Great show, guys. Eric, I'm thrilled for next week's Groovy Hollow race. Yeah, I can't wait for that either. We've got a great group of guys. All of our times are within 2/10. Yeah. No. Blue Jimmy on iRacing. He's a threat. He's definitely
I didn't know
for sure.
I'm glad you made it into the qualifying event, Blue Jim. I'm glad. Hopefully, excited for the race next weekend. I just dropped in our group chat, guys. Look at one of the paint schemes we'll look at after the show tonight. But
nice.
I'm excited. It should be a great field. Hopefully, you have what it takes to beat the Halloween machine, the mystery driver that we're going to have competing. You'll find out more Friday this week. I'm working on a video that these two are featured in as well. But I know, very excited for next Wednesday's Groovy Hollow 200. And on that note, because yes, I did say next Wednesday night. If we talk about next week's show, we're on Thursday night next week, if I'm not mistaken, right, Darian?
I don't know. Are we?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, we are on
right.
Danny B's channel, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Awesome.
Yeah, leave your guess below who the mystery driver is. It should be a fun show. He's back and he's seeking blood in the form of iRacing cars. I don't know. It's gonna be fun. We have an exciting show. Podium Esports is helping out. We're doing it. We're also partnering with Extra Life, which is a great charitable organization. So we're going to be trying to raise money for them while also putting on a fun Halloween themed iRacing stream. I know we've got Alex Hayden from MRN is back to do some of the broadcasting with Podium. So we've got I think it's going to be a fun show. We've been working on it for a couple months now, actually. And next week, you'll see the finished project live on my channel. But then, Thursday night, we'll be back with NASCAR Weekly Podcast on Danny B's channel. Should be fun.
Awesome.
And that's going to be the last one on Danny's channel this year. And this was the last one this year on your channel, Darian.
This was the last one of the year, and I will address that in a moment. Let me shout out the new channel members. Hot Piss, thank you for joining. Nathan Lyons, it's always great racing against you in our night in America. Thanks for becoming an official BFM channel member. And finally, Joseph Hayes, thank you so much for joining. Now, yes, as Jarrett alluded to, this is the final show of the year of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on my channel for the 2021 season. And it's also the final show from this apartment. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I will be moving to Virginia. I won't say what town I'm staying at, but I'll be moving to Virginia for the next few months. I'm going to be moving down south. It'll be a whole new experience for me. And hopefully by the start of 2022, I'll have a more permanent place. But I think it's fitting. You know, I've done all I've wanted to do out here. Growing up out here, I grew up a huge NASCAR fan. Was able to get media credentials at my childhood track, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And honestly, I really felt after that, like there's nothing left to accomplish here, you know. And also, coincidentally, we're about to hit 50,000 subs too as I'm saying this. So really appreciate all of the support, guys. This is basically the end of an era for me out here. I've been living in this apartment since 2018, and that was when we were first starting up the channel and stuff like that. I still remember the first podcast I did from here. This apartment has a lot of memories over the past 2.5 to 3 years, but yeah, it's time to move on. And I really appreciate all of the support, guys, because I wouldn't be able to without you guys. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna miss seeing those kind of gray, beige colored walls behind you.
Yeah, we're gonna have a whole new
your hair, your ever growing hair, always stands out. Oh, whoa!
Yeah.
Oh,
Someone
wow,
memed that.
That was a look. Darian just went. I thought we made it through a full show without a goofy Darian face, and then he hit us with a.
You guys meme
hit us
that.
with one right there.
You guys meme that. Y'all know what to do. But yeah. So that'll do it for another edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, do you have it ready?
Yeah.
All
They'll
right.
probably blow out anyway.
All right, let me say my outro, and then we can do it. Thank you guys so much for watching this year's edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on BFM. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time. It was better. It was a little better. It wasn't bad. It was okay. But anyways, goodbye!
Everyone's blowing out their microphone.